Chapter 85. Killing the enemy in one move. Ouyang Fei didn't hold back at all. He killed the 200 scatter sky cultivators in one move. Long Yili and Duanmu Lin might be hedonistic, but they weren't stupid. Seeing Ouyang Fei kill two of their subordinates in one move, their faces changed. Both of them shouted in shock, "One-line sky cultivators." One-line sky cultivators were above 100 scatter sky. Long Yili and Duanmu Lin didn't dare to stay any longer. They turned around to leave, but at this time, Longao, who hadn't moved since the beginning, silently appeared in front of them like a ghost. With a sneer, Longao asked indifferently, "You two, where are you going?" "Ah." Hearing the screams of the two, Longao was completely depressed. He hadn't even made a move yet, but the two of them were screaming like pigs being slaughtered. This was too ridiculous. "Brother Long, forget it." Ouyang Fei, who had just beheaded 200 scatter heavens martial artists, calmed down and instantly became rational. Because he was very clear in his heart that once he killed Long Yili and Duanmu Lin, Long family and Duanmu family would definitely not leave the matter at that. They were both families, but the strength of the Long and Duanmu families was there for all to see. Even if it was the Star Cloud Kingdom, it wouldn't be a match for the Long and Duanmu families. Even if he was unwilling, Ouyang Fei still suppressed his emotions. Even if it wasn't for himself, he had to think about the kingdom. How could Longao not know about Ouyang Fei's worries? No matter what, with the status and identity of the Long and Duanmu families in Thunder City, the Star Cloud Kingdom wouldn't provoke these two families. "You two ungrateful dogs better get out of the way for this young master. Otherwise, you'll die without a burial place." Until now, Long Yili and Duanmu Lin were still acting ruthlessly. In their hearts, they thought that the other party wouldn't dare to touch them in Thunder City. What a joke. The Long and Duanmu family's strength and status in Thunder City were second only to the Thunder Imperial family. With a sneer, Longao said indifferently, "You two better shut up." "Shut your sister up. Who do you think you are, country bumpkin? Let me tell you, you better be smart. If you dare to provoke this young master, be careful that you won't have a tomorrow." The faces of Long Yili and Duanmu Lin were filled with disdain. They heavily snorted, and the two of them prepared to leave without the slightest scruple. The people who were watching the good show all around naturally recognized the four pests of Thunder City. Every one of them dared to be angry, but didn't dare to say anything. They were cursing the 18 generations of ancestors of these two people in their hearts. However, when the two men who were about to leave saw that the other party had no intention of giving way, they were instantly enraged. "Kid, you're playing with fire. Get out of my way." Long Yili and Duanmu Lin were infuriated when they saw that the other party was still not giving way. However, they were powerless to do anything because the 100 scatter heavens martial artists that they had found this time were all killed by the other party in a single move. Would they dare to personally take action? "Brother Long, forget it. Big brother Ouyang, when it's time to give in, give in. When you can't compromise, don't compromise." Longao's voice was filled with endless coldness. He looked coldly at the two people in front of him and said word by word, "Kneel or die. Kneel or die. Kid, you dare to make us kneel?" Before the two of them could say anything, an unparalleled aura suddenly rose from Longao's body and suppressed them from all directions. According to Longao's strength, how could the two of them withstand the aura released by him? "Catcher, catcher." Long Yili and Duanmu Lin's ribs were directly crushed and their faces were filled with fear. Only now did the two of them realize that the other party wasn't joking with them. Kneel or die. Under the powerful aura, Long Yili and Duanmu Lin still knelt down. Their faces were filled with coldness and anger, but they didn't dare to say anything because they knew that the other party wasn't joking with them. If they were really killed, even if their families came forward to take revenge, they would already be dead. People like Long Yili and Duanmu Lin were most afraid of death. Good. Don't know who took the lead, but the crowd of onlookers immediately applauded. Everyone hated the four pests of Thunder City to the extreme and wished that the other party would immediately kill the two of them. Hearing the burst of applause coming from all around, whether it was Long Yili or Duanmu Lin, the complexion of both of them became gloomy and cold. If it was in normal times, both of them would have already gotten angry, but now the situation was different. Both of them obediently kneeled on the ground and didn't dare to continue to be arrogant. Don't think that you are so awesome. If it wasn't for Long family and Duanmu family behind you, I can clearly tell you that you are just two piles of trash. If I want to kill you, I can do it in a matter of minutes. Remember, you have to pay the price for being shameless. Long Yili and Duanmu Lin still didn't dare to speak, but both of them were cursing the other party's 18 generations of ancestors in their heart. At the same time, they thought that after I, your father, leave this place, I will definitely make you look good. If it wasn't for Long family behind them, Longao wouldn't have let them off. Snorting, he turned around and left with Ouyang Fei. And at this time, the crowd of onlookers had already dispersed. Practically no one stayed behind. What kind of joke was this? If they were caught by the four pests of Thunder City, even if they didn't die, they would lose a layer of skin. Brother Duanmu, this enmity must be avenged. Humph, daring to provoke us, I will make him pay double the price. Brother Long, now you and I will return to our families and invite experts. Remember, the other party is a warrior from One Line Sky. One Line Sky is basically useless. I understand. Enduring the pain of their broken ribs, Long Yili and Duanmu Lin struggled to get up from the ground and walked towards their respective families step by step. Brother Long, this time you were a little reckless. No matter what, Long Yili and Duanmu Lin will not leave this matter at that. Big brother Ouyang, I know what you want to say, but I can only tell you that if you blindly seek for perfection, Star Cloud Kingdom will never rise in this lifetime. Too trash. I believe Long family and Duanmu family will not become enemies with Star Cloud Kingdom because of this. Rise. Easier said than done. As the Crown Prince of Star Cloud Kingdom, Ouyang Fei wanted the kingdom to rise more than anyone else. But the reality was, this matter was easy to think about, but it was incomparably difficult to actually do it. However, Longao had already said this much. If he continued to say it, it would be a little unkind. Brother Long, it's still early. How about I bring you to the auction house to take a look? It is said that the auction house in Thunder City has many good things. As long as Brother Long likes it, I will definitely give it to you. Auction house. Longao was also a little interested and nodded. Just like this, the two of them walked towards Thunder City, which was also the largest auction house in Thunder Kingdom. In the auction house, there would be auctions every day, but every few days, there would be a large-scale auction. Longao and Ouyang Fei's luck was not bad, they just happened to run into it. Chapter 86. Thunderbolt City, the largest auction house. The auction house had 2 floors. The first floor was a huge hall that could hold at least 1,000 people. The huge auction house was packed with people. Everyone was shouting their bids, and the highest bidder would get the item. Ouyang Fei and Longao had been in the auction house for 2 hours, but they had not seen anything. Only when the last item came up did Longao's spirit rise. His eyes lit up as he stared at the item on the stage. 1,000-year Thunderbolt Fruit. Ouyang Fei was also surprised. He had never thought that the last item of the auction would be the 1,000-year Thunderbolt Fruit that Longao wanted. He had searched high and low for it, only to find it without any effort. Brother Long, don't worry. No matter what, I will get the 1,000-year Thunderbolt Fruit for you. Thank you, big brother Ouyang. Longao knew very well that it would be difficult to bid for the 1,000-year-old Thunderbolt Fruit with his own strength. However, Ouyang Fei was different. As the Crown Prince of the Nebula Royal family, Ouyang Fei definitely had the strength to do so. If it was something else, Longao would not trouble Ouyang Fei. However, the 1,000-year Thunderbolt Fruit was different. No matter what happened, he had to get the 1,000-year Thunderbolt Fruit. On the auction stage, the auctioneer looked at the last item and said loudly, "Now for the last item, the 1,000-year Thunderbolt Fruit." I believe everyone is clear about the value of this 1,000-year Thunderbolt Fruit. Let's not waste any more words. The starting price is 3 Xiantian Beast Dans. Xiantian Beast Dans were usually auctioned with gold coins. However, valuable items were not auctioned with gold coins, but Beast Dans. 3 Xiantian beast dance were equivalent to killing 3 Xiantian spiritual beasts. One could imagine the value of 3 Xiantian beast dance. However, the value of a Millennium Thunder Fruit far surpassed 3 Xiantian beast dance. Furthermore, the Millennium Thunder Fruit was even rarer than the Xiantian beast dance. 4 Xiantian beast dance. Before anyone else could bid, the person who bid suddenly said, "This 1,000-year Thunderbolt fruit is for the third prince." The third prince Zhao Hao? Hearing that the person who made the bid was actually the third prince Zhao Hao, the crowd went into an uproar. Everyone knew what the third prince Zhao Hao meant. In Thunder City, the Thunder Imperial family was the absolute overlord. There were 3 clans that stood on equal footing. They were the rank 4 Long clan, Jiang clan, and Duanmu clan. The third prince was the absolute overlord of Thunder City, and the third prince was even more of a hedonistic prince. Normally, he would run amok, and no one dared to provoke him. Because of this, when the third prince started bidding, who would dare to continue bidding against the third prince for the 1,000-year Thunder Fruit? No one dared to say a word even though they were angry. Brother Long, third Prince Zhao Hao is not to be trifled with. Why don't we think of other ways? As the crown prince of the Nebula royal family, Ouyang Fei naturally did not dare to provoke the Thunder royal family. How could Longao not know about Ouyang Fei's concerns? He said, "Brother Ouyang, I must get the 1,000-year Thunder Fruit. This has nothing to do with the Nebula royal family." 5 Xiantian beast cause. Hearing the sudden bid, everyone was dumbfounded. They looked at the person who made the bid in shock. They didn't know who would dare to bid against the third prince in Thunder City. Jiang Jun, a disciple of the Jiang clan, sneered and said, "Third prince, I don't know which dog dares to bid against you. I'll go take a look." Grabbing Jiang Jun, Zhao Hao sneered and said, "I'd like to see what kind of ability this person has." 10 Xiantian beast cause. 11 Xiantian beast cause. With swords drawn and bows bent, everyone was looking at Longao. They didn't know whether this person's brain was damaged or not. He actually dared to bid against the third prince. Each and every one of them foolishly looked at both sides bidding. As the bidding continued to escalate, the third prince Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun's complexion were simply gloomy to the extreme. This time, Longao didn't give Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun a chance to continue bidding. He directly shouted, "2 level 2 Xiantian beast cores." A level 2 Xiantian beast core was equivalent to a one-line sky warrior. One could imagine the value of a level 2 Xiantian beast core. Even 100 Xiantian beast cores couldn't compare to 2 level 2 Xiantian beast cores. The auctioneer didn't dare to drop the hammer. After all, the one who made the bid was the third prince. Once the hammer dropped, the third prince would come looking for trouble, and the auctioneer would be held responsible. However, at this time, Longao stood up and sneered, "Is this the auction house's rule?" Although the surrounding people didn't say anything, they had already started whispering. This kind of situation had a huge impact on the auction house. After all, the auction house played with its reputation. Once it lost its reputation, the auction house wouldn't be far from closing down. The third Prince Zhao Hao was about to continue bidding, but Jiang Jun stopped him. He shook his head and said, "Third Prince, this person is obviously looking for trouble. Although the 1,000-year Thunder Fruit is precious, 3 level 2 Xiantian beast cores are indeed not worth it." "I don't care. Bastard, you actually dare to bid against me. Shout, 4 cores. For level 2 Xiantian beast cores. For level 2 Xiantian beast cores." Longao muttered in his heart. No matter what, he only had 2 level 2 Xiantian beast cores. He couldn't take out any more. But to give up on the 1,000-year Thunder Fruit? If he gave up this time, who knows when he would be able to get the next 1,000-year Thunder Fruit? He could wait, but Yu Yin couldn't. Thinking of this, Longao gritted his teeth and shouted, 20 level 2 Xiantian beast cores. An uproar broke out as everyone stared at the youth. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that the youth was deliberately looking for trouble. Who was this person? Why did he dare to find trouble with the third prince? Did he not want to live anymore? Are UF** King looking for trouble? Don't you know who he is? Jiang Jun completely exploded. He was also trying to flatter the youth as he roared in anger. The third prince Zhao Mang didn't continue bidding. Even if he was a prince, he couldn't take out more than 20 level 2 Xiantian beast cores. But losing the bid was a complete loss of face. Who you are has nothing to do with me. If you have the ability, then bid. If you don't have Xiantian beast cores, then shut up. Looking at the auctioneer on the stage, Longao asked, if no one continues to bid, then this 1,000-year thunder fruit should belong to me, right? The auctioneer glanced at the third prince. Seeing that the third prince didn't continue bidding, he gritted his teeth and said, 20 level 2 Xiantian beast cores, sold. Longao was overjoyed. He didn't care about anyone else as he grabbed the 1,000-year thunder fruit from the box and threw it into the dragon seal space. He then turned around and prepared to leave. Wait, you haven't taken out your 20,000-year thunder fruits. Record it down first. I will head to the Thunder Forest later to hunt for spiritual beasts. I will definitely gather 20 level 2 Xiantian beast cores and hand them over to you. Chapter 87. Wait. Hearing the other party's words, the auctioneer was shocked. Dine and dash. Although there were many people who dared to dine and dash in this world, no one dared to dine and dash in Thunder City's auction house. Not to mention, this person had just bid against the third prince. Could it be that this person was deliberately looking for trouble? I've already said that I will definitely return the 20 level 2 Xiantian beast dance to the auction house. How dare you dine and dash? Guards! Just as the words of the auction house fell, a lot of big men shot from all around, each and every one of them stared at Longao with a fiendish look. At this time, Jiang Jun suddenly sneered and said, so it's a trash who eats and dashes, capture this person for me. Don't kill him. I want to see how many heads you have that you dare to behave so atrociously in Thunder City. The experts of the Imperial family, Jiang family, and the auction house all rushed forward. 30 to 40 people left quickly and returned even faster. Miserable screams resounded throughout the auction house. Looking at the scattered figures, Jiang Jun and the third Prince Zhao Hao were shocked. Xiantian warrior? No wonder the other party was so arrogant. So he was a Xiantian warrior. Xiantian warriors might be able to dominate other places, but in Thunder City where experts were as common as clouds, even Xiantian warriors had to be obedient. As the third prince of the imperial family, Zhao Hao naturally had Xiantian warriors as bodyguards, and so did Jiang Jun. Under the two's orders, 2 Xiantian warriors rushed out. But in the end, the 2 Xiantian warriors didn't even have the chance to react before they were ruthlessly kicked out by Longao. 1 kick each. Seeing the Xiantian warriors being kicked out by the other party, Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun were completely stunned. But at this time, a terrifying aura spread out and enveloped the entire auction house. Little brother, don't be impatient. A middle-aged man slowly walked down from the second floor with a fan in his hand. Seeing the middle-aged man, the auctioneer bowed and greeted, "Manager." Waving his hand, Liu Feng smiled and said, "I already know about this matter. Leave this matter to me. Go and disperse everyone. Today's auction is over." Nodding his head, the auctioneer immediately sent people to disperse the auction house's people. In a short while, everyone in the hall disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only Longao, Liu Feng, Zhao Hao, and Jiang Jun. President Liu, this person is bidding against me, but he doesn't have a beast core. According to this situation, shouldn't this 1,000-year-old thunder fruit belong to me? Looking at the third prince, Zhao Hao, Liu Feng felt even more disdain and contempt in his heart. However, due to the other party's status, he still smiled and said, "Third prince, I'll deal with this matter later." Third prince, the auction has ended. An eviction order. Although Liu Feng did not say it explicitly, the meaning behind his words was very clear. He had directly issued an eviction order. If it were not for the sake of the Thunder royal family, Liu Feng would not have given the third prince, Zhao Hao, any face. Taking a deep look at Longao, Zhao Hao said coldly, "I will remember you. I hope you will stay here for the rest of your life." After Jiang Jun and Zhao Hao left, Liu Feng smiled and said, "Little brother, are you from the Star Cloud Kingdom?" Longao was not surprised that the other party knew his identity. After all, He was sitting with Ouyang Fei just now. According to the auction house's strength, it would be very easy for them to find out his identity in a short period of time. Longao from the Scarlet Fire town of Star Cloud Kingdom. Okay, I'm Liu Feng. If you don't mind, you can call me Big Brother Liu, and I'll call you Brother Long. How about it? Big Brother Liu? Brother Long? Longao was very surprised. After all, the other party's status and strength were there for all to see. Why was he so polite to him? Big Brother Liu, since you're like this, what about the third prince, Zhao Hao? Ha ha ha, it's fine. He's just a hedonistic prince. Come, I have something to tell you. Filled with curiosity, Longao followed Liu Feng to the second floor and into a simple room. Big Brother Liu, I'm determined to get the 1,000-year thunder fruit. However, I don't have 20 level 2 Xiantian beast dance on me. But I promise that I'll return them to the auction house within a month. Shaking his head, Liu Feng said, Brother Long, I'll give you this 1,000-year thunder fruit. As for the third prince, you don't have to worry about him. Big Brother Liu, I can't accept this thunder fruit for nothing. If you refuse again, you won't treat me as your big brother. Longao could only accept. No matter what, he couldn't hand over this 1,000-year thunder fruit. If it wasn't for the upcoming thunder battle, he would have immediately returned to the Scarlet Fire town. Brother Long, forgive me for being blunt. Are you here to represent the Star Cloud Kingdom Protector Hall in this year's thunder battle? Without hiding anything, Longao nodded and replied, That's right. Brother Long, forgive me for being blunt. According to my understanding, with your strength, you don't have the qualifications to enter the Star Cloud Kingdom Protector Hall, let alone represent them in the thunder battle. I'd like to ask, why is that? To be honest, Big Brother Liu, I don't know about this either. It's all done by the Star Cloud Kingdom. Seeing that Longao wasn't willing to say more, Liu Feng didn't continue asking. He said, the thunder battle is a life and death battle between the Star Cloud Kingdom Protector Hall. If you're not careful, you'll lose your life. Brother Long, if you're willing, you can join my auction house. How about it? Olive branch. Seeing that the other party had thrown out an olive branch, Longao was also a little surprised. He said, Big Brother Liu, I appreciate your kindness. However, the Nebula royal family has treated me well. I will never do such a thing. So, I hope that Big Brother Liu can understand. Okay, since you're not willing, I won't force you. Liu Feng seemed to have guessed that Longao would be like this. He didn't make things difficult for him. Then, the two chatted for a while before Longao turned and left. Manager, he's just a small Star Cloud Kingdom protector. Do we need to do this? I've seen what this kid is like. He's been a waste for 10 years, but he didn't give up. Not long ago, he rose up quickly. In just a few months, he grew to this stage and even became the Star Cloud Kingdom's protector. With this achievement, is he still an ordinary person? Manager, although this kid isn't simple, he provoked the third prince. If we extend an olive branch, wouldn't we be going against the royal family? Ch, a waste of a prince. I don't believe that the royal family will go against our auction house for a waste. Pass down the order. If this kid comes back with 20 innate level 2 beast dance in the future, we can't accept it. Do you understand? Understood. Looking at the youth who had already left, Liu Feng's eyes slowly lit up. He said to himself, Longao, interesting. I hope you won't disappoint me. Chapter 88. Outside the auction house. Bastard, stop right there. Bastard, who are you calling? Bastard, he's calling you. Jiang Jun was furious when he realized that he had been cheated. However, he was stopped by the third prince, Zhao Hao. Zhao Hao sneered and said, Longao, Star Cloud Kingdom State Protector, one-line sky martial artist. I'm puzzled. Is there no one else in Star Cloud Kingdom? They actually let a trash enter the Star Cloud Kingdom Protector Hall. Ridicule, contempt, and disdain. The third prince and Jiang Jun didn't have any expert bodyguards by their side, but the two of them were still calm and collected. This was because the two of them were very confident. With their status in Thunder City, Even if the other party was given 10,000 guts, they still wouldn't dare to be impudent. Get lost. Longao could not be bothered with the two. Towards such a hedonistic disciple, he did not even bother to say another word. He turned around and prepared to leave. However, he was still stopped by the two. For the sake of Star Cloud Kingdom, I'll spare your life. However, you have to hand over the 1,000-year Thunderfruit. With a whirlwind, Longao's body had already disappeared. Seeing that the other party had ignored them, Jiang Jun and Zhao Hao's faces were extremely gloomy. Third Prince, this person is so presumptuous. If we just let it go like this, wouldn't we be laughed at by others? Zhao Hao nodded. Zhao Hao's reputation in Thunder City was so bad that it was even worse than the four pests of Thunder City. Since Longao ignored him, how could Zhao Hao let it go so easily? He said coldly, I'll let him know the consequences of offending me. Inside the Star Cloud Relay Station. Brother Long, are you all right? I'm fine. Brother Long, I'm sorry for what happened just now. For the kingdom, I had no choice but to do that. How could Longao not know what Ouyang Fei was thinking? From the beginning to the end, he had never blamed him. No matter what, Ouyang Fei's status was there. Once he provoked the Thunder Royal family and the other major families, it would not only involve Ouyang Fei but also Star Cloud Kingdom. Longao smiled and said, Big brother Ouyang, it's okay. I know your situation. Ouyang Fei's expression was solemn. He thought for a while and said, Brother Long, now that you've offended the Thunder Royalty, the Jiang family, the Duanmu family, and the Long family, why don't you return to the kingdom first and save your sister-in-law? I'll handle the matter of the Thunder battle. Big brother Ouyang, this matter started because of me. If I don't solve it, I will definitely not leave. As for this 1,000-year-old Thunderfruit, I will have to trouble you to send someone to send it back to Scarlet Fire Town. Longao's intention was very simple. He wanted to send the 1,000-year Thunderfruit back and save Yu Yin. As for himself, he would not leave Thunder City. In the end, Longao was completely depressed to the extreme. In Thunder City, aside from the overlord of the Thunder Royal family, Longao had offended the other three major powers, the Jiang family, the Long family, and the Duanmu family. Longao knew very well that once the four major powers joined forces to deal with him, even Ouyang Fei and the Star Cloud Kingdom would not dare to support him. Brother Long, big brother Ouyang, since things have already reached this stage, it seems that we can only counter soldiers with arms and water with an earth weir. Longao took out the 1,000-year Thunderfruit and handed it to Ouyang Fei. Big brother Ouyang, no matter what happens, you must bring this 1,000-year Thunderfruit to Yu Yin smoothly. Please. Looking deeply at Longao in front of him, Ouyang Fei sighed. He knew the importance of this 1,000-year Thunderfruit better than anyone else. He nodded and said, Don't worry, leave this matter to me. Ouyang Fei left with the 1,000-year Thunderfruit. Before Longao could return to his room, a few people came from another direction. It was Yu Wei and the others. HMPH, Longao, stop right there. What's the matter? Longao, we already know what happened today. We have no right to interfere with what you do, but you have to understand one thing. You are now the state protector of the Nebula National Guard Hall. Everything you do represents the Star Cloud Kingdom. You have now offended the Thunder Royal family, the Jiang family, the Long family, and the Duanmu family. I want to ask you, have you ever thought of the Star Cloud Kingdom? This time, the Nebula National Guard Hall sent a total of 10 state protectors, namely Longao, Luo Cheng, Yu Wei, Marofeng, Tong Bo, Hao Jiangjun, Hao Chao, Yi Rong, Lin Yi, and Wang Huan. As the Deputy Hall Master of the National Guard Hall, Luo Cheng was originally dedicated to protecting Longao. However, what happened today had seriously threatened the Nebula National Guard Hall and the Nebula Royal family. As the Deputy Hall Master, even Luo Cheng could not continue to protect Longao. Ha ha ha, brother Yu, I was there at the time. I really don't blame brother Long Prince Ouyang, this is a matter of the National Guard Hall. I hope the royal family will not intervene. Although the Nebula National Guard Hall obeyed the orders of the Nebula Royal family, it also existed independently. Unless the Emperor of the Nebula Kingdom came in person, No one in the entire Nebula Kingdom could command the National Guard Hall. Ouyang Fei seemed to want to say something, but in the end, he closed his mouth. However, his face was full of displeasure. Yu Wei, I have already said at the beginning that if you provoke me again, I will kill you. Are you itching for a beating? Hearing this, Yu Wei was shocked. He had heard of Longao's tyranny with his own ears. What's more, a person who could even defeat Hao Chao. If Longao really beat him, wouldn't he be in trouble? Luo Cheng coughed twice and said with some displeasure, Brother Long, you are indeed wrong in this matter. Once the Thunder Royal family and the three major families come forward, not only you, but even the National Guard Hall will suffer. Do you understand? Longao wasn't a fool. He completely understood that if he was useful, the National Guard Hall would treat him like a treasure. Seeing that he got into trouble, the National Guard Hall wanted to kick him out. The 9 members of the National Guard Hall were all present. It was clear. With a sneer, Longao asked back, what do you want? Yu Wei snorted, Longao, our meaning is simple. Because of your recklessness, you have provoked the Thunder Royal family and the 3 major families. We, the National Guard Hall, will not clean up your mess. So from now on, hope your ass. Yu Wei wasn't angry at all. Longao said directly, it is useless to keep the National Guard Hall like this. Luo Cheng, from now on, I officially leave the National Guard Hall. No matter what happens, it is my business alone. It has nothing to do with the National Guard Hall and the Star Cloud Royal family. Hearing this, Luo Cheng and the others finally sighed in relief. No matter what, even if the Thunder Royal family and the 3 major families found trouble with Longao, it wouldn't involve the Star Cloud Royal family and the National Guard Hall. However, at this time, Ouyang Fei said, Brother Long, although you are no longer the National Guard Hall's National Guard Master, you are still my big brother. No matter what happens, the Star Cloud Kingdom and I will support you. Prince Ouyang, Yu Wei was shocked. He didn't expect Ouyang Fei to suddenly act like this. Chapter 89. The Nebula Protector Hall belonged to the Nebula Royal family. Luo Cheng and the rest forced Longao to leave the Protector Hall because they did not want to cause trouble for the Protector Hall and the Nebula Royal family. But now, Ouyang Fei was obviously biased towards Longao. If that was the case, what was the point of Longao leaving the Protector Hall? Once the Thunder Royal family and the 3 major families came to cause trouble, it would not only implicate the Nebula Royal family but also the Protector Hall. Yu Wei, Deputy Hall Master Luo, I have made up my mind. No matter what happens to Longao, I will support him. Ouyang Fei's attitude was clear. As the Crown Prince of the Nebula Kingdom, even Luo Cheng and the rest could not do anything now that the Emperor was not present. Seeing the situation, Longao suddenly smiled and said, Brother Ouyang, with a brother like you, everything is worth it. From now on, not only will I leave the Protector Hall, but I will also leave the Nebula Royal family. Without giving Ouyang Fei any chance to speak, Longao continued, Brother Ouyang, I would like to ask you for a favor. Ouyang Fei sighed deeply. How could he not know Longao's character? He nodded and asked, Brother Long, what's the matter? I hope Brother Ouyang can help me take care of the Long family. Brother Long, don't worry. As long as I, Ouyang Fei, am here, nothing will happen to the Long family. Thank you. I will repay this kindness in the future. After saying that, Longao turned and left. Soon, he disappeared from the Nebula Relay Station. Looking at the figure that had already left, Yu Wei and the others sneered in their hearts. They had completely removed the thorn in their side. In the end, Yu Wei and the others, including Luo Cheng, were still filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred towards Longao. Crown Prince Ouyang, the Thunder Battle will officially start in 10 days. The Thunder Royal family has just sent a message for you to go to them. Nodding, Ouyang Fei was extremely unhappy about Longao's matter. He turned and left quickly. Hall Master Luo, aren't we going a bit too far by doing this? Among the 9 people, Hao Chao was the most upright person. He didn't want to deal with Longao just because he was defeated by Longao. Compared to Yu Wei, Hao Chao was very noble. Luo Cheng waved his hand. No one knew what expression he had on his face. He said indifferently, "Everything is for the National Guard Hall and the Nebula royal family. Brother Hao, Longao only has himself to blame for this. He can't blame anyone else." Hao Chao looked down on Yu Wei in his heart. He glared at Yu Wei and chased after him. "Brother Long, wait for me." Seeing Hao Chao chasing after him, Longao was very puzzled. He asked, "Brother Hao, what's the matter?" Toward Hao Chao, this person, Longao still had a favorable impression. "Brother Long, you were too reckless this time. Luo Cheng and the others are obviously forcing you to leave the National Guard Hall. If you leave the National Guard Hall now, what will you do if the Thunder Imperial family and the 3 great clans find trouble with you? There's no point in staying in such a National Guard Hall. Although that's the case, Brother Long, have you thought about your family? This time, you provoked the Thunder Imperial family and the 3 great clans and left the National Guard Hall. If the Thunder Imperial family and the 3 great clans target your family, what will you do? I believe that Brother Ouyang will help me take care of my family." Longao had full confidence in Ouyang Fei. Moreover, Ouyang Fei had just promised him. However, Hao Chao did not think so. He said in a serious tone, "Brother Long, it's not that I don't believe in Prince Ouyang, but the Thunder Imperial family and the 3 great clans are too powerful. Once they are determined to deal with your family, can Ouyang Fei stop them? At that time, even the Nebula Kingdom may not dare to stop them." Longao was not a fool. Of course, he could understand the meaning of Hao Chao's words. Before this, he had indeed not thought about this. Now that he thought about it, it was just as Hao Chao said. Once the Thunder Imperial family and the 3 great clans target his family, could Ouyang Fei stop them alone? Although Ouyang Fei was the crown prince of the Nebula Kingdom and could indeed show off in the Nebula Kingdom, what about in front of the Thunder Imperial family? "Brother Hao, actually, you and I both know that even if I don't leave the National Guard Hall, I can't deal with the Thunder Imperial family. Moreover, the National Guard Hall can't tolerate me at all. Why should I deceive myself?" After a deep sigh, Hao Chao said, "Brother Long, to tell you the truth, you are the person I admire the most. I also believe that you will definitely be able to rise to the top in the future." Longao did not say anything and only smiled. "Brother Long, I came to you this time because I thought of a way. Maybe it can help you." "Brother Hao, what way?" After thinking for a while, Hao Chao said, "Brother Long, the only way now is for you to continue participating in the Thunder Battle. As long as you can achieve something in the Thunder Battle, I believe the Thunder Imperial family will definitely value you." When the time comes, Hao Chao did not continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he could understand, but he said, "Brother Hao, I have already left the National Guard Hall. Can I still participate in the Thunder Battle?" The Thunder Battle was a great battle held by the Thunder Empire. 32 kingdoms and the Thunder Empire would participate together. Brother Long, you can rest assured about this. The Thunder Battle was originally stipulated by the Thunder Empire. Apart from the Thunder Empire and the 32 kingdoms, as long as you belong to the 32 kingdoms or the Thunder Empire, you can participate. However, the prerequisite is that your cultivation must reach the one-line sky realm. So that's how it is. Brother Hao, thank you. 10 days later, I will participate in the Thunder Battle. Brother Long, you must be careful of Yu Wei and the others. When you participate in the Thunder Battle, I will stand on your side and help you. Nodding his head, Longao didn't continue to say anything. Everything was in silence. He was such a person. If someone helped him, he would return the favor twofold. On the other hand, if someone deliberately looked for trouble, he would take revenge. Looking at Longao, who had already left, Hao Chao smiled and said, "What a confident young man. I am really looking forward to your growth. National Guard Hall, you will regret your actions today." After leaving the Star Cloud relay station, Longao first found an inn and waited for the Thunder Imperial family and the 3 great clans to come looking for trouble. Thinking about it, Longao also felt a little helpless. He had just entered Thunder City and had provoked the Thunder Imperial family and the 3 great clans in less than 2 days. Perhaps he could be considered an unprecedented person. After the Jiang family, the Long family, and the Duanmu family received the news that Longao had provoked the third prince, they all quieted down and waited for the third prince to find trouble with this person. No matter what, in Thunder City, the Thunder Imperial family was the absolute overlord. Chapter 90. The next day, early morning. Outside the inn. Longao stretched his body. As soon as he stepped out of the inn, he saw 4 figures approaching from afar. 2 of them were the third Prince Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun. As for the remaining 2 people, Longao sensed a little and sensed that the 2 were one-line sky martial artists. The Thunder Empire was the absolute overlord of the 32 kingdoms. The strength of the Thunder Empire was there for all to see. 2 one-line sky martial artists were nothing to the Thunder Imperial family. Longao, I have to admire you. You actually left the Nebula Protector Hall. But that's fine. I'll let you know the consequences of provoking the third prince. Longao wasn't surprised that the third Prince Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun already knew that he had left the Protector Hall. After all, with their strength in Thunder City, it would be easy for them to find out about him. Longao, I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the 1,000-year Thunderfruit and kneel down to admit your mistakes. Perhaps I'll let you go. Otherwise, not only you, but even your family will suffer. Hearing Zhao Hao's words, Longao's body suddenly emitted a terrifying murderous aura. Family was something that Longao couldn't touch. No matter who it was, even if it was the Thunder Empire's crown prince. Zhao Hao, you're courting death. Ha ha ha, Longao, you dare to threaten the third prince? Who do you think you are? I'll tell you clearly now. Kneel down and hand over the 1,000-year Thunderfruit. Otherwise, your family will pay the price. Jiang Jun's face was full of contempt. He continued, Longao, don't think that the rank 4 Long family will help you. Let me tell you, in front of the Thunder Empire, you're nothing, including your family. Clenching his fists, Longao's face was gloomy. At this moment, his body was filled with murderous aura. At this moment, Longao finally understood what Hao Chao said. Whether it was Ouyang Fei or the Nebula Kingdom, they were insignificant in front of the Thunder Empire. Even if Ouyang Fei wanted to help him, he was powerless. It was precisely because of this that Longao deeply realized that his strength was still far from enough. Longao knew that when his family wasn't fully protected, he would always have his hands tied. Seeing that Longao didn't speak, Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun sneered. Zhao Hao said, Longao, I know you are not convinced, but let me give you a piece of advice. A wise man submits to circumstances. Shut up and die. Horrifying killing intent covered the sky and covered the earth. Longao's figure had already moved. Jiang Jun and Zhao Hao were shocked, because the 2 of them had never imagined that the other party would suddenly make a move. The 2 one-line sky martial artists behind them also followed. With 2 one-line sky martial artists joining forces, under normal circumstances, it was impossible for Longao to be a match for the other party. But the current situation was completely different. Longao's palms moved, using the Yellow Spring's 9 consecutive strikes, heart-devouring ice, and even the soul-subduing seal. It was obvious that Longao was going for the kill. Catcher, catcher. Longao's speed was too fast. The 2 Xiantian martial artists didn't even have the chance to react before they were directly killed by Longao's palm. Ah! Seeing the 2 one-line sky martial artists killed in a single move, both Jiang Jun and Zhao Hao were shocked. How could they dare to stay any longer? They turned around and prepared to leave. But would Longao let them go? Brother Long, forget it. Longao, who already had the intention to kill, was forcibly stopped by Liu Feng. He could only watch as the 2 left, disappearing into the crowd. The surrounding onlookers were all excited when they saw the sorry state of Jiang Jun and Zhao Hao. There were even some people who were constantly clapping and cheering. This was the result of the pests. Brother Liu. Brother Long, come with me. Looking at Liu Feng in front of him, Longao was incomparably shocked. He could clearly sense that Liu Feng's strength was far beyond his own. It wasn't an evolution at all, nor was it even a fusion. Could it be that he was a unification expert? Longao had an intuition that if he were to face Liu Feng, he would have no chance of winning. This was the biggest difference between the realms. In the auction house. Brother Long, you are too reckless. Provoking Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun is not a wise move. Even if you don't think for yourself, you have to think for the family behind you. Nodding, Longao also knew that he was indeed a little impulsive. If he were to kill Jiang Jun and Zhao Hao, the consequences would be unimaginable. Big brother Liu, Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun threatened my family. If I don't kill them, who knows if they will do something to my family? Brother Long, I know you are worried. You are now separated from the Nebula Protector Hall. Once the Thunder Imperial family and the three major families deal with you or your family, you will be too far away. Although Liu Feng did not finish his words, the meaning in his words was very clear. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he understood. After thinking for a while, he asked, Brother Liu, do you have a way? Nodding, Liu Feng said, Brother Long, I am already embarrassed to talk about this matter. But the situation has already reached this point. For now, there is only one way, and that is for you to join the auction house. With the deterrence of my auction house, I believe that even the Thunder Imperial family will not dare to deal with you and your family easily. Join the auction house? With the precedent of the National Protector Hall, Longao was really unwilling to join the auction house. Even if the Thunder Imperial family was afraid of the auction house now, what about in the future? If he were to meet other forces or the Thunder Imperial family who insisted on dealing with him, would the auction house still support him? The answer was definitely no. Because of this, Longao did not even think about it and said, Brother Liu, to tell you the truth, from now on, I will not join any forces. I hope Brother Liu can understand. However, I will not forget Brother Liu's kindness. As if he had already guessed it, Liu Feng smiled and said, Brother Long, don't worry. Even if you don't join the auction house, I promise you here that I will protect the Long family. Even if it is the Thunder Imperial family, I will not let the Long family lose a single hair. Hearing this, Longao said gratefully, Thank you, Brother Liu. With the help of Liu Feng and the auction house, Longao could finally breathe a sigh of relief. He wasn't worried about himself now, but his family. Once Zhao Hao and Jiang Jun went crazy and attacked his family, the consequences would be unimaginable. After chatting with Liu Feng for a while, Longao left the auction house. But at this time, a young man who looked like a servant walked over and said, You are Longao? Chapter 91. Yes. Do you need something? Someone told me to give you this letter. Longao didn't even have time to ask before the other party turned and left. This again. Longao opened the letter and gave it a cursory glance. His face was expressionless as he tore the letter apart. Smiling helplessly, he walked away. The auction house was very powerful in Thunder City because it had branches all over the Martial Sky continent. Because of this, even the Thunder Imperial family was wary of the auction house. The auction house's Liu Feng personally went to the Thunder Imperial family. Under heavy pressure, the third prince gave up on dealing with the Scarlet Fire Town's Long family. However, he swore that he wouldn't let Longao off. 10 days later, the Thunder battle held by the Thunder Empire officially began. The 320 Imperial protectors from the 32 kingdoms, the Thunder Empire Protector Hall, and a few scattered Xiantian experts made up a total of 400 people. What kind of concept was this? The so-called Battle of Thunder was equivalent to a total of 400 Xiantian martial artists. Half of them had reached the evolution boundary, and the remaining half were one-line sky martial artists. As for the 100 scatter sky martial artists, they did not have the qualifications to participate in the Battle of Thunder. Longao had decided to represent himself and his family to participate in the Thunder battle. The Star Cloud Protector Hall was very dissatisfied with this, but they didn't say anything. When the news of Longao leaving the Star Cloud Protector Hall reached the Star Cloud Kingdom, Tang Lin and Ouyang Feng didn't say anything. Longao already knew that the Star Cloud Kingdom had given up on him. There was nothing wrong with putting one's own safety before others. Because of this, Longao didn't have the slightest complaint. The only thing he was worried about was his family. Outside the Thunder Forest, all the people from the 32 Kingdoms and the Thunder Empire had entered the Thunder Forest. As for the rules of the Thunder Battle, it was very simple. They had to kill their opponents and obtain their spirit tokens. The 32 Kingdoms, the Thunder Empire, and the scattered Xiantian experts all had a spirit token. At the end of the Thunder Battle, they would be ranked according to the number of spirit tokens they had. The Thunder Battle would last for 10 days. After 10 days, everyone, regardless of life or death, would gather outside the Thunder Forest. Every year, besides the imperial protectors of the Thunder Empire and the 32 Kingdoms, there were also many scattered warriors who participated in the Battle of Thunder, all for the sake of making a name for themselves. Especially if he entered the top 10 of the Thunder Battle, his name would instantly shake the world. Longao knew very well that he was no longer the imperial protector of the Nebula National Guard Hall. He was alone. Therefore, he had to be on guard at all times in this Thunder Battle. He had to be extremely alert. Just as he stepped into the Thunder Forest, Longao ran into some old acquaintances, the 9 people from Star Cloud Kingdom. This time, because of his departure, Star Cloud Kingdom, which originally had 10 people participating, could only send 9. Longao, you are really arrogant. You dare to participate in the Thunder Battle alone? I advise you to leave. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. Yu Wei's face was filled with disdain as he continued speaking in a strange tone. Oh right, I almost forgot. Some people are not afraid of death and think that they are invincible. Yu Wei, you are too much. Brother Hao, I know that you have a good relationship with Longao, but that is that. Longao almost caused our Nebula National Guard Hall to suffer. Just for this, he should apologize to us. Even if he kneels down, it wouldn't be too much. Hao Chao seemed to want to say something, but Longao waved his hand and sneered. He didn't say anything and just looked at Yu Wei coldly. For some unknown reason, Yu Wei shuddered at the thought of that. Longao. Yu Wei, you're usually handsome and charming. Everyone loves you and flowers bloom when they see you. But from what I see now, you're just AF * king beast among scumbags, a scumbag among beasts. Longao, you dare to scold me? With a sneer, Longao said with a contemptuous smile, who do you think you are? I have already said that if you dare to provoke me again in the future, no matter who is protecting you, I will kill you without mercy. All of this is what you asked for. You can't blame others. Hearing this, Yu Wei was shocked. He knew his opponent's character the best. If Longao really went crazy, he wouldn't be able to resist. However, Yu Wei wasn't worried. In any case, he still had the National Guard Hall's Deputy Hall Master, Luo Cheng, who was a fusion expert. Could his opponent defeat Luo Cheng? The Battle of Thunder clearly stated that regardless of whether it was the 32 Kingdoms or the Thunder Empire, they could only send 1 fusion expert. In this way, there would not be more than 30 fusion experts entering the Thunder Forest, including the scattered fusion experts. After all, among the 32 Kingdoms, not every kingdom had a fusion expert. Longao, I don't believe that you dare to kill me here. Ha ha ha, Yu Wei, I, Longao, swear that if I don't kill you, I am not a human. Longao, you are too presumptuous. Luo Cheng, who had been silent all this time, said with a gloomy face. As the National Guard Hall's Deputy Hall Master and a fusion expert, Yu Wei didn't put him in his eyes at all. Luo Cheng, do you mean to side with Yu Wei? In any case, Longao had entered the National Guard Hall before and Ouyang Fei had treated him well. It was precisely because of this that unless it was a last resort, Longao didn't want to fall out with the National Guard Hall. Although he didn't want to fall out with the National Guard Hall, it didn't mean that he could tolerate the National Guard Hall. Especially now, Yu Wei must die. If the National Guard Hall insisted on siding with Yu Wei, he could only face them head-on. Longao, for the sake of you and Prince Ouyang, and the Hall Master's good to you, I advise you to stop while you are ahead. Don't be too presumptuous in everything. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. Seeing that Luo Cheng was really angry, Hao Chao hurriedly came out to smooth things over and said, Deputy Hall Master, Longao, no matter what, we are a family. The most important thing now is to fight, not to engage in internal strife. Humph, Hao Chao, let me ask you now, are you still a member of the National Guard Hall? Yes. Hao Chao was aware of Yu Wei's shamelessness. He despised him fiercely in his heart but didn't show his anger. No matter what, he was still a member of the National Guard Hall and there was a deputy hallmaster in front of him. Again coldly snorting, Hao Chao said in a strange tone, I thought you were no longer a member of the National Guard Hall. Now Longao openly despises the National Guard Hall. If we let this person go today, where will our Nebula National Guard Hall's face go? Yu Wei's intention was very clear, that was, to incite everyone to deal with Longao. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, Longao burst into laughter. Just when everyone was puzzled, Longao's body suddenly moved. Yu Wei, today I will kill you. Whoever blocks me will die. Shocked, Yu Wei certainly wouldn't choose to confront Longao head-on. He hurriedly hid behind Luo Cheng, but the corner of his mouth raised a sneer. Chapter 92. Longao had already made up his mind to kill Yu Cheng, regardless of the consequences. Impudent. Luo Cheng was furious. He never thought that the other party would actually kill Yu Wei in front of him. Wasn't Longao looking down on him? As a fusion expert, Luo Cheng's strength could be imagined, but Longao simply wouldn't choose to meet force with force with force. Although Longao had full confidence in his own strength, he knew his own limits. It was precisely because of this that Longao held the blood-sucking wild saber in his hand and used the Yellow Spring 9 consecutive strikes and Icebound Heart devouring to attack Yu Wei directly. Now, Longao was no longer the State Protector of the State Protector Hall, so other than Hao Chao, everyone moved. 1 against 8. If it was really 1 against 8, Longao definitely wouldn't be a match for the 8 of them. But Longao only had one goal, and that was to kill Yu Wei, so he simply wouldn't choose to meet force with force with force with the 8 of them. Soul-subduing seal, the first seal of the destruction seal. Without any sound, Longao continuously used 8 soul-subduing seals. Whether it was Yu Wei's group of 7 or Luo Cheng, their faces instantly changed. They immediately mobilized all the strength in their body to resist this strange and mysterious power. Soul-subduing seal, aside from being powerful, was even more powerful in that it was silent and could even erode the soul. It was precisely because of this that even Luo Cheng was careless and had his soul eroded by the soul-subduing seal. The consequences were unimaginable. Such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, how could Longao easily give it up? The blood-devouring blade in his hand fiercely chopped down at Yu Wei. The shocking blade light was like a bolt of lightning, and no one could resist it because at this moment, Luo Cheng and the others were using all their strength to resist the strange power that was eroding their soul. Longao, you can't kill me. Longao, if you dare to kill me, my big brother will definitely not let you go. Longao completely ignored Yu Wei. A shocking saber light instantly slashed out, directly severing Yu Wei's saber. Catcher. Even in a situation where 7 great experts and Luo Cheng were present, Yu Wei was still killed. Looking at everything that happened in front of him, Hao Chao seemed to be a little dumbfounded. Both of his eyes stared at Longao, because until now, Hao Chao did not dare to imagine that Longao could kill Yu Wei under the cooperation of 8 experts. After killing Yu Wei, Longao did not continue to attack. According to this situation, as long as Longao wanted to, he could kill the others at any time. This was the power of the soul-suppressing seal. By the time everyone had gotten rid of the strange energy in their bodies, all that was left of Yu Wei was a corpse. The faces of Luo Cheng and the others were as ugly as they could be. They were extremely gloomy. Longao had killed Yu Wei right under his nose. Did Longao even put him in his eyes? Longao, you have gone too far. Mph, Luo Cheng, I have said it before. If Yu Wei dares to provoke me again, I will kill him without mercy. He is the one who is looking for death. What does it have to do with me? Luo Cheng, the bully will be bullied. I hope you know what to do. Too lazy to continue talking to the other party, Longao turned and left. Hall Master Luo, are we just going to let it go like this? Marrow Feng, Tong Bo, Hao Jiangjun, Yi Rong, Lin Yi, and Wang Huan still had lingering fear at this moment because the strange energy that had just eroded them was really terrifying. Once Longao took advantage of it, the consequences would be unimaginable. But even so, do they really want to let Longao go? These people were not fools. According to Longao's talent and potential, as well as his current strength, if he was given time to develop, who could stop him in a few years? Waving his hand, Luo Cheng did not want to let Longao go, but he was not a fool. He knew in his heart that it was not easy to keep Longao. He was afraid that the National Guard Hall would have to pay a high price. Hao Chao, why didn't you take action when dealing with Longao just now? Luo Cheng pointed his finger at Hao Chao because among the 9 people, only Hao Chao did not take action against Longao. What did this mean? Hearing Luo Cheng's words, the other 7 people all looked at Hao Chao. Their eyes were cold, and their faces were full of murderous intent. With a cold snort, Hao Chao, as the 4th person in the National Guard Hall and a peak evolution martial artist, was not afraid of the crowd at all. He snorted coldly, "Hallmaster Luo, you know me well. I will say what I want to say. Longao has been pushed out of the National Guard Hall by you, but what about you?" Without giving anyone a chance to speak, Hao Chao continued, "Yu Wei was defeated by Brother Long, and he kept looking for trouble. Not to mention Brother Long, even if I encountered this matter, I would kill Yu Wei. No matter what you do, I won't do that. Be kind." Hearing Hao Chao's words, everyone was speechless because what Hao Chao said was true. They had no chance to refute. Although they knew what Hao Chao said was right, when they thought about how Longao killed Yu Wei in front of them, they felt a kind of anger that had nowhere to vent. Heavily snorting, Tong Bo said angrily, "Brother Hao, what you said is wrong. No matter what, Longao is no longer a member of the National Guard Hall, but Yu Wei is. Longao killed Yu Wei in front of us. He did not put us in his eyes at all. I want to ask you, are you still a member of the National Guard Hall?" Hao Chao knew what Tong Bo meant. He sneered and said, "Tong Bo, you don't need to trick me. I won't fall for it. If you want, I can also leave the National Guard Hall." "Hao Chao, you said it yourself. We did not force you." At this point, Luo Cheng also knew that Hao Chao must be eliminated. Otherwise, Hao Chao would become a big problem for him. In fact, there were also factions in the Nebula National Guard Hall. Luo Cheng, as the Vice Hall Master of the Nebula National Guard Hall, naturally wanted to be the Hall Master. However, because of Tang Lin, he had not been able to achieve it for so many years. Because of this, Luo Cheng had been trying to develop his own force for so many years. This time, the 7 people he brought were all his men, including Yu Wei. That was why Luo Cheng was so angry when Yu Wei was killed by Longao. Not for one's own use, cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Well, in this case, there is no point for me to continue to stay here. From now on, I, Hao Chao, officially leave the National Guard Hall. Goodbye. Wait, Hao Chao, you are no longer a member of the National Guard Hall. That means we are enemies. Hand over the spirit token in your hand. Considering that we have been together for so many years, we can let you go. Hao Chao despised Luo Cheng and the others in his heart. How could he not know what Luo Cheng meant? Yu Wei's spirit token had been taken away by Longao. Now that he had left the National Guard Hall, he believed that Luo Cheng would not let him go. However, could he hand over the spirit token? If he lost the spirit token, even if he could seize all the spirit tokens, he would still not be able to be ranked. Chapter 93. Because of this, Hao Chao certainly wouldn't hand over his soul order. Goodbye. You want to leave? Not so easy. Maro Feng, Tong Bo, Hao Jiangjun, Yi Rong, Lin Yi, and Wang Huan, the 6 evolved experts quickly attacked, surrounding Hao Chao with murderous intent. Hao Chao's face was also a little ugly. After all, in a 1 versus 7 situation, the consequences could be imagined. Kill. With a roar, the 6 people rushed forward frantically. In a blink of an eye, the 7 people had already engaged in a fierce battle, and Luo Cheng was on the periphery. In other words, Hao Chao would definitely die now. After all, in addition to the 6 people, there was still a fusion master. Could Hao Chao escape from Luo Cheng's hands smoothly? Brother Hao, let me help you. A shocking saber light slashed down instantly. Longao held the blood-sucking saber and had joined the battle. Longao's strength could be imagined. Coupled with Hao Chao, the 2 of them were almost at a disadvantage against the 6 people. Instead, they had the upper hand. Regarding this, the 6 people were taken aback. They didn't dare to be careless and attacked with all their strength. Presumptuous. Luo Cheng roared. If the 2 of them were to escape this time, where would his face be? It was precisely because of this that Luo Cheng did not care about his identity as the Vice Hall Master and instantly joined the battle. However, Longao and Hao Chao fiercely forced the 6 of them to retreat and quickly turned around to leave. Hall Master Luo, what should we do now? Waving his hand, Luo Cheng's face was gloomy. I don't believe that they can leave the Thunder Forest alive. Our top priority now is to seize the Soul Order. As for the 2 of them, it's not too late to deal with them later. Longao and Hao Chao ran all the way and stopped when they found that Luo Cheng and others didn't catch up. Brother Long, thank you very much this time. If you didn't help in time, I'm afraid I would have been torn apart by them. With a smile, Longao said, Brother Hao, you're welcome. You left the National Guard Hall for me, but Luo Cheng will definitely not let this go. You still have to be more careful. Brother Long, you're not coming with me? I like to be alone. Good brother, once you have trouble, I will rush over as soon as possible. Goodbye. Longao did not continue to talk and turned away. Outside a secluded valley. The moment Longao stepped into the valley, he felt a horrifying stench of blood. It filled the air and was exceptionally pungent. Not good. Longao was also shocked when he saw the huge blood-colored huge python that had suddenly appeared in the valley. The huge blood python had a total of 9 heads. Each head had a pair of icy green eyes that emitted a cold glow. 9-headed blood python was a natural spirit beast. Longao knew very well that the strength of the 9-headed blood python in front of him was definitely above Luo Cheng's. In other words, it was above the fusion stage. With his strength, would he be a match for the 9-headed blood python? Because of this, Longao turned around and prepared to leave. But could he leave? Roar. The 9 heads of the 9-headed blood python moved together and began to attack Longao crazily. He did not dare to be careless. The blood-drinking broadsword in his hand instantly slashed out. The 9 consecutive strikes of the underworld and the heart-devouring icebound, together with the soul-suppressing seal, smashed towards the 9-headed blood python fiercely. The defensive power of the 9-headed blood python was too strong. Longao's body was swept by the python's tail and instantly flew backwards. Plop! His body fell heavily on the ground and he spat out blood. He was shocked. The strength of the 9-headed blood python was not something that he could resist. Longao directly used the dragon seal and smashed it towards the 9-headed blood python fiercely. The originally small dragon seal instantly became bigger as it was smashed out. He did not know if it was Long Fu's trick. The dragon seal smashed onto the 9-headed blood python fiercely, not giving it any chance at all. It directly smashed the 9-headed blood python to the ground. Looking at the 9-headed blood python that was smashed to death, Longao was completely dumbfounded. Although he knew that the dragon seal was not simple, he did not expect that such a strong 9-headed blood python would be smashed to death by the dragon seal. Master, the dragon seal is the nemesis of the 9-headed blood python. If it were other spiritual beasts, I would not be able to do anything. However, the 9-headed blood python is very strong. Once you refine it, it will be enough for you to make a breakthrough. Hearing this, Longao was delighted. His desolate saint physique had always been his sore point. The strongest physique was also the most useless physique. If he wanted to make a breakthrough, he would need a huge amount of strength. Now, the 9-headed blood python was a good opportunity. Longao did not hesitate. He immediately sat down cross-legged and circulated the 9-cycle reincarnation technique in his body. As Long Fu said, the dragon seal was the nemesis of the 9-headed blood python. It was extremely easy to refine it. In fact, Longao originally wanted to let Long Fu refine the nine-headed blood python into a soul slave. According to the strength of the nine-headed blood python, once it was refined into a soul slave, its strength would be very strong. Even if he encountered Luo Cheng, he believed that he would not have to be afraid. However, after thinking about it, Longao still decided to refine it. He wanted to increase his strength first. With the power of the nine-headed blood python being refined, the mysterious heavenly 9 changes had reached the 9th change in an instant. He was only one step away from officially breaking through the first cycle of the 9-cycle reincarnation technique. However, this one step was like an insurmountable gap that could not be crossed. Feeling a huge amount of power continuously flowing into his body, Longao was delighted. He did not give up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He immediately used this power to evolve the 108 acupuncture points in his body. He had to admit that the soul of the 9-headed blood python was indeed very strong. After being refined, it was like a water column that crazily flowed into Longao's body. In just half an hour, the 108 acupuncture points in Longao's body were completely filled with this powerful power. In addition to the power that had already been condensed, at this moment, a loud sound came from Longao's body. He had officially broken through from the one-line sky realm to the evolution realm. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew that if it was not for the 9-headed blood python, he would have needed a long time and a lot of power to break through from the one-line sky realm to the evolution realm. Although his cultivation had successfully broken through to the evolution realm, Longao did not stop there. This was because Long Fu had refined the 9-headed blood python and obtained 1/3 of its power. Taking advantage of this huge power, he might be able to break through to the fusion realm in one fell swoop. In the fusion realm, fusing the power into the spiritual power. It seemed simple, but it was actually very difficult. A huge amount of power crazily flowed into Longao's body. The evolution realm, which was about to break through to the evolution realm, increased at an incomparably fast speed. It only stopped when it reached the peak evolution realm. Peak evolution realm. He was pleasantly surprised. Although he did not reach the fusion realm as he had expected, breaking through to the peak evolution realm was definitely a very good thing. At this moment, Longao was full of confidence. According to his current strength, even if he encountered Luo Cheng, he would definitely be able to fight. Chapter 94. Longao heaved a sigh of relief as his cultivation base broke through to evolving pinnacle. At the end of the day, Longao did not have full confidence in entering the Thunderbolt Forest and participating in the Thunderbolt battle. No matter what, out of the 400-odd martial artists participating in the Thunderbolt battle, more than half of them had already reached evolving pinnacle state. In fact, more than 30 of them had even broken through fusion state. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Just then, Longao heard squeaking noises coming from his embrace. Curious, he took the little fella out of his embrace and stroked it gently. This little fella had obtained a total of 2 dragon eggs from the Dragon Valley. One of the dragon eggs was obtained by Long Ming, while the other dragon egg was in the hands of Longao. No matter who it was, when they saw the little fellow, they would not think that the little fellow would be a small dragon. It was completely a small snake. However, Longao was very clear that the little fellow that he had obtained was a mutated dragon. Little fella, what's wrong? Squeak, squeak, squeak. Hearing the little fella squeaking non-stop, Longao was completely frustrated. He did not know what the little fella was trying to say. Master, I can understand what the little fella is trying to say. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao's heart leaped with joy. Immediately, he asked, Long Fu, what's wrong with the little fella? Hearing these words, Long Fu seemed to be surprised. Master, you and the little fella are really fated. Just like you, he belongs to the desolate physique. If he wants to evolve, he would need a huge amount of energy. What the little fella is trying to say is simple. He needs energy to evolve. Desolate physique. The little fella had the desolate physique as well. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was shocked. He was not unfamiliar with the desolate physique at all. The desolate physique was hailed as the #1 godly physique. But at the same time, it was also the #1 trash physique. The reason was simple. To possess the desolate physique, one would need a huge amount of energy to support it. Otherwise, it would be hard for one's cultivation base to improve. Longao looked at Little Rascal with a dejected expression. It was hard for him to imagine how much energy Little Rascal had to use to evolve. Little Rascal also had a desolate physique, and he also had a desolate physique. Master, this little fella that you have obtained is extraordinary. It is a mutated colossal dragon. Once it grows up, it will become a powerful being. Therefore, Master, I will help you and help this little fella evolve continuously. With Long Fu's help, Longao could finally breathe a sigh of relief. That was because within the dragon seal space, there was a mysterious blood pool that could refine souls and transform them into energy for him. Taking a deep look at the little fellow in his arms, Longao said with a doting smile, "From now on, you will follow me. You are my family. I will now give you a name. You will follow my surname. From now on, you will be called Long Chong. I hope you can become stronger in the future." As if it could hear Longao's words, the little guy couldn't stop giggling. He was very satisfied with his name. "From now on, I will call you Xiao Chong. Xiao Chong, smile for your brother. Ji. 2 hours later, Longao left the valley. This time, he had killed the 9-headed blood python and devoured spiritual energy to increase his cultivation, breaking through to the peak evolution realm. This was something that Longao never expected. In the following days, Longao hunted others everywhere and seized soul tokens. This was because Longao clearly knew that in the thunder battle, there were no friends, only enemies. Being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to oneself. It was precisely because of this that Longao didn't have the slightest bit of mercy. No matter who it was, as long as there was an opportunity, he would immediately attack without mercy. After breaking through to the evolution realm, not to mention one-line sky martial artists and evolution realm martial artists, even if he encountered a fusion martial artist, Longao would still have the strength to fight. However, unless it was a last resort, Longao wasn't willing to face a fusion martial artist. After killing 3 one-line sky martial artists and obtaining 3 soul tokens, Longao was preparing to continue looking for other prey. At this time, a burst of fighting sounds came from not far away, and wild auras scattered in all directions. Out of curiosity, Longao shot towards the direction of the fighting sounds. After a while, he saw a beautiful girl being besieged by more than 20 flaming tigers. Scarlet flaming tigers were Xiantian spiritual beasts. Their strength was equivalent to a fusion martial artist. More than 20 scarlet flaming tigers meant more than 20 fusion martial artists. Seeing the beautiful girl being besieged by more than 20 scarlet flaming tigers, Longao was shocked. Without a doubt, the beautiful girl was 100% a fusion martial artist. Just looking, Longao didn't intend to help because there was a thunder battle going on in the Thunder Forest. Who knew who the other party was? He didn't want to treat his good intentions as ill intent. However, even though Longao didn't want to help, someone was forcing him to. Unknowingly, a scarlet flaming tiger had appeared behind Longao. With the strength of a fusion martial artist, its body emitted a cold aura. Its eyes coldly stared at Longao, and it approached step by step, ready to attack at any time. *CK Longao cursed fiercely. Things had already come to this point, and he had no other choice. He didn't fight with the scarlet flaming tiger in front of him. Instead, he turned and shot towards the beautiful girl. Before he arrived, his terrifying aura arrived first. Longao was not a fool, and he also knew his limits. With his strength, not to mention facing more than 20 scarlet flaming tigers at the same time, even if 2 scarlet flaming tigers joined forces, it would be extremely difficult for him to deal with them. Precisely because of this, Longao knew that if he wanted to leave smoothly, he had to end the battle quickly. Once he delayed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Soul-suppressing seal. Longao used more than 20 soul-suppressing seals at the same time, silently invading the bodies of the scarlet flaming tigers. Firstly, The scarlet flaming tigers were attacking the beautiful girl with all their strength, and their attention was not on Longao. Secondly, the scarlet flaming tigers didn't even put Longao in their eyes. A mere evolved martial artist human, in the eyes of more than 20 scarlet flaming tigers, was nothing. Due to their carelessness, the 20 scarlet flaming tigers that were attacking the beautiful girl with all their strength suddenly had a change in expression. They immediately used all their strength to resist the mysterious power in their bodies. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. As long as Longao wanted to, he could leave at any time, but Longao didn't choose to leave. "Are you crazy? Hurry up and leave with me." Hearing the beautiful girl's words, Longao staggered and almost fell. However, the current situation didn't allow him to be careless. The dragon seal appeared in his hand, and he directly smashed it towards the scarlet flaming tigers. "Catcher, catcher." The dragon seal didn't succeed in killing the scarlet flaming tigers, and at this time, Longao's body also rushed out. He arrived in front of a scarlet flaming tiger and quickly sent out a palm. Yellow springs 9 consecutive strikes. 9 fist energies continuously overlapped, and in an instant, the fist energies smashed onto the scarlet flaming tiger's head. Chapter 95. The scarlet flame tiger was first silently invaded by the soul-suppressing seal, then Longao's palm landed on the top of its head. Under these 2 attacks, its body fiercely fell to the ground. He immediately rejoiced in his heart. Longao immediately threw out the dragon seal and absorbed the scarlet flame tiger's soul into the dragon seal space. Longao had already calculated the time accurately. In a few seconds, he had killed 3 scarlet flame tigers and obtained the souls of the 3 scarlet flame tigers. Let's go. The remaining scarlet flame tigers had already eliminated the energy corrosion in their bodies. Each of them stared with cold eyes and directly chased after them. Longao and the girl madly ran for half an hour. After discovering that they had completely shaken off the scarlet flame tigers, the 2 of them let out a sigh of relief and sat down on the ground. At this moment, Longao carefully sized up the girl beside him. Coldly snorting, the girl fiercely glared and angrily said, "What are you looking at, stinking rogue?" "Stinking rogue? I've become a stinking rogue." Being scolded by the other party, Longao's face instantly turned cold and said, "Are you sick? I just saved you. It's fine if you don't even say thank you, but you actually scolded me as a stinking rogue. Is there something wrong with your head?" If it was an ordinary man, seeing such a beautiful young girl's appearance, he would have long been charmed to the point of losing his spirit. However, Longao's heart was completely filled with Yu Yin. Therefore, he did not have the slightest intention of being moved by any woman. "You dare scold me? What did you just scold me for? If you have the ability, try scolding me again." Longao's temper was not very good. He had risked his life to save the other party. It was fine if the other party did not thank him, but now, she actually turned the tables on him. "I just said that you're sick, that there's something wrong with your head. I'm really King annoyed to save you. Goodbye. Want to leave?" Coldly snorting, the beautiful girl had already scurried away. Before she arrived, a terrifying killing intent had already arrived. Startled, Longao had just stood up when he was attacked by his opponent. He countered with a punch, Yellow springs 9 consecutive strikes. In an instant, 9 fist energies overlapped. Palm and fist collided. Before Longao could react, he was already pushed back by his opponent. Longao was shocked. He never thought that the other party would be so strong. Longao was confident that even if he encountered a fusion martial artist, he would be able to fight and even kill the other party with the help of the soul-suppressing seal. But at this moment, Longao had a feeling that the other party's strength seemed to have reached the peak of the fusion stage. Unless the soul-suppressing seal silently invaded the other party's body, it was almost impossible to kill the other party. Soul-suppressing seal. Longao didn't use the soul-suppressing seal. No matter what, the other party was still a girl, and she didn't do anything wrong. If he really killed the other party, he would feel bad in his heart. "I won't haggle with you. Sick women have bad tempers." Hearing this, the beautiful girl's face turned red. She roared and chased after him. The two of them ran one after the other. Longao never thought that things would turn out like this. He originally wanted to save someone, but what about now? The person he saved turned around and chased after him. If he couldn't win, he would run. Longao didn't use the soul-suppressing seal. There seemed to be no other way except to run. Inside the Thunder Forest. Look, a fusion martial artist chasing an evolution martial artist. This person is really unlucky. We'd better not intervene. A fusion martial artist is too terrifying. Longao and the beautiful girl were chasing after each other. No one dared to intervene because the powerful aura exuded by the beautiful girl had indicated that the beautiful girl was a fusion martial artist. Fusion martial artist. In this Thunder Forest battle, there were more than 400 participants, and there were a total of 30 fusion martial artists. This meant that among the 400 post-celestial martial artists, fusion martial artists were the strongest. Because of this, no one was willing to provoke a fusion martial artist. Outside a secluded valley in the Thunder Forest. Being chased by the beautiful girl, Longao didn't even look at his surroundings. He ran all the way here. When he saw the huge valley, he didn't even think twice before darting in. Stupid hooligan, no matter where you run to, I'll kill you. With a furious roar, the beautiful girl followed him into the valley with a murderous aura. In the blink of an eye, the two of them disappeared from the valley. In the valley, black fog lingered, and there was even an oddly pungent smell. The moment Longao stepped into the valley, his face darkened. He could feel that something was wrong in the valley. However, with someone chasing after him, he couldn't leave the valley at all. Boo-hoo-hoo, boo-hoo-hoo, boo-hoo-hoo. From the depths of the valley came a series of ghostly wails. The moment he heard it, Longao channeled the energy within his body to resist against the ghostly wails. This unpleasant sound was similar to the soul-suppressing seal, able to corrode one's soul. Shocked, Longao couldn't care less about anything else and resisted with all his might. The beautiful girl arrived in the blink of an eye. When she saw the stinking hooligan in her heart, she roared and stabbed her sharp sword towards him. It was obvious that the beautiful girl really wanted to kill him. She didn't show any mercy. The sharp sword shot out terrifying sword chi, one after another, arriving in an instant. With a backhand palm, Longao didn't dare to use his body to block the sword chis. Even though he tried to dodge, he was still injured by the sword chis. But at this moment, Longao couldn't care less. The power of the sound was way too strong. If he wasn't careful, he would be corroded by the sound, and the consequences would be unimaginable. The beautiful young lady, who was just about to continue attacking, also noticed that something was wrong before she could do anything. The sound invaded her body and corroded her soul. Perhaps it was due to her anger that the beautiful young lady, who should have been able to resist it, was overwhelmed by her anger. Coupled with the eerie sound corroding her soul, she fainted. Looking at the beautiful girl fainting, Longao really wanted to ignore her. But at the end of the day, Longao was still a man. This wasn't to say that Longao was lustful. It was just that he couldn't bear to see a girl die in front of him. With no other choice, Longao darted over with the beautiful girl. Not only did he have to resist the corrosion of the sound, he also had to help the beautiful girl resist the corrosion of the figure. Longao didn't stay where he was. He brought the beautiful girl and ran out of the valley. Plop, at this time, Longao and the beautiful girl fell into a black pit together. In an instant, the two of them disappeared without a trace. The valley was still shrouded in black fog, and it was still wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. Chapter 96. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Inside the huge cave, water droplets continuously dripped down from the ceiling. The entire cave was supported by 8 stone pillars, and the surrounding walls were engraved with some diagrams, one after another. Yes. Groaning in pain, Aoshue struggled to lift her eyelids. She opened her eyes and struggled to get up from the ground. She shook her head and tried to clear her head. "You're awake. Damn hooligan, I'm going to kill you." Ah! Aoshue, who was just about to attack, suddenly let out a painful roar. She sat down on the ground again, her face full of pain. I advise you to save your strength. Longao had already woken up, but he had suffered a heavy fall, so he could only recover from his injuries first. After a few hours of rest, he was more or less able to move. Longao stood up and stretched his body. Then, he walked towards the eastern stone wall. He wanted to see what kind of patterns were carved on the surrounding stone walls. Damn pervert, what did you do to me? At this moment, Aoshue screamed in horror. Could it be? Aoshue didn't dare to think further. Pain and despair were written all over her face. She believed that no matter which woman it was, she would not be able to face such a thing. Longao, who had already walked out, sighed deeply. He turned around and said apologetically, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I can only tell you that I had no choice. Damn hooligan, you actually took advantage of the fact that I was unconscious too. I didn't. Both our souls have been corroded by the mysterious voice. I believe you should know what happened. I hope you won't be unreasonable. I'm unreasonable. Aoshue closed his eyes. The anger and murderous intent on his face were like an erupting volcano. Letting out another deep sigh, Longao did not know what to do. It turned out that their souls had been corroded by the mysterious voice, and after falling into the cave, they had a muddle-headed relationship. When Longao woke up, he found that both of them were not wearing any clothes, and he understood what had happened. It was precisely because of this that Longao endured the waves of pain coming from his body. Longao shook his head helplessly. Even now, he still felt somewhat depressed. Why did he get himself into such big trouble for no reason? Without continuing to dwell on this issue, Longao came before the stone wall and observed the patterns carved on it. Inside the cave, there were a total of 12 patterns carved on the walls in the 4 directions of north, south, east, and west. The patterns carved on the walls could not be understood at all. However, Longao had a feeling that if he stared at the patterns for a long time, the patterns would emit a power that would invade his soul. Shocked, he didn't dare to continue looking at the 12 diagrams. However, at this moment, Longao dodged to the side, brushing past the ice-cold sword chi. Longao didn't even need to turn around to know what had happened. Perhaps it was because he felt guilty, but Longao didn't dodge the next attack and was hit by Aoshue's palm. With a muffled groan, Longao's body flew backwards and crashed into the wall with a loud bang. Aoshue seemed to be in a daze because it had never expected that the other party wouldn't dodge. However, when it thought of its body being invaded by the other party, Aoshue had the urge to kill the other party. I saved your life before, and now I've suffered a palm strike from you. The two of us are even. If you dare to attack again, I won't be polite. Chimph, with just you? Aoshue's face was filled with disdain and contempt because to Aoshue, evolving into a martial artist wasn't a big deal. After all, for martial artists, the difference in realms couldn't be made up with other things. Longao stood up with difficulty. His body was already in pain, and now that he had suffered another palm strike, he felt as if his entire body was about to fall apart. The pain was so excruciating that it was as if a dozen people were using sharp knives to continuously slash his body. You stinking pervert, how dare you defile my body? If I don't kill you today, I'm not human. Wait, you have to be clear about something. Aoshue seemed to be very angry, her body trembling as she scolded, are you a man or not? You dare to do it, but you don't dare to admit it. You can only be a stinking pervert, I really despise you. Dare to do it, but don't dare to admit it. Stinking pervert. Today, I'll show you what a real stinking pervert is. Being always scolded as a stinking rogue by the other party, Longao was also a little angry. He shot out from the left side. Before he arrived, the soul-suppressing seal had already arrived. Aoshue, who was originally incomparably angry, didn't even have time to react before he was already invaded by a mysterious force and began to corrode his soul. Shocked, Aoshue didn't dare to be careless. She immediately channeled all the energy in her body to resist the force that was corroding her soul. But at this moment, Longao had already arrived beside Aoshue. Without waiting for Aoshue to react, he carried Aoshue over. The reason why Longao was able to succeed so easily was because Aoshue was heavily injured and angry. Otherwise, the soul-suppressing seal alone wouldn't be able to control Aoshue. Woo woo woo, woo woo. Longao didn't care about Aoshue's cries at all. In Longao's heart, he was only cursing in his heart. King called me a stinking pervert again. Big brother was kind enough to save you, and you called me a stinking pervert. Just like that, Longao beat Aoshue for 3 minutes until he was out of breath. Then, he finally stopped. Stinking pervert, stinking pervert. You still dare to call me a stinking pervert, I'll let you. Once again, Longao beat Aoshue fiercely. This time, he beat Aoshue fiercely for a full 10 minutes, almost suffocating it. Stinking pervert, stinking pervert. Every time Aoshue scolded, Longao beat Aoshue for a few minutes, then Longao scolded again, then beat Aoshue for a few more minutes. Just like that, after a few times, Aoshue finally became completely obedient, but her vicious eyes were still staring at Longao. Letting go of Aoshue, Longao said unhappily, "Let me tell you, don't think that I'm easy to bully. You and I didn't want to do anything between us, but I'm a fair person, and I'll take responsibility for you." Chapter 97. Responsibility. Longao wasn't a playboy, and he was absolutely loyal to Yu Yin. But there was always a chance. Whether he was willing or not, he had taken her body. Since that was the case, he had to be responsible for her. Responsibility? You want to be responsible for me? You don't have to look down on me. I know your identity isn't simple, but I'll ask you one last time. Do you need me to be responsible? Longao wasn't a fool. The other party had broken through to the peak of the fusion realm at such a young age. Her identity and background were definitely not simple. Moreover, the other party's arrogance was obviously not simple. No, you don't need to be responsible for my death. Stinky. Just as Aoshue cursed, Longao glared at her. After being beaten for dozens of minutes, Aoshue was afraid that the other party would continue to beat her. Woo woo, you bully me. Woo woo, woo woo. Looking at the crying girl, Longao didn't know what to do for a moment. He would rather fight with an expert than see a girl cry, especially a girl he was about to be responsible for. Longao had decided that no matter who was right or wrong, he would be responsible. As a man, he should dare to do and be responsible. Longao didn't know how to coax the girl. He gently sat beside her and looked at her quietly. After crying for a long time, Aoshue finally stopped. Half of her anger had disappeared. She suddenly asked, "Stinky brat, what's your name?" The stinky hooligan had become a stinky brat. Longao smiled helplessly and didn't continue to bicker with the girl. He said, "My name is Longao. I'm from the Long family of Scarlet Fire Town." If it was the old Longao, he would definitely add the word Star Cloud Kingdom in front of the Scarlet Fire Town. However, ever since he left the National Guard Hall, Longao only said the Scarlet Fire Town's Long Clan, not Star Cloud Kingdom's Scarlet Fire Town's Long Clan. "You're from the Long family?" Aoshue seemed to be surprised. After all, the Long family had a powerful status in the Tianwu continent. However, the Long family had many branches, and there were 9 levels. So not all the branches of the Long family were powerful. If you want, you can tell me your name and identity. I'll say it again, I won't deny what I've done to you. I'll be responsible for you, whether you want it or not. Mph, who needs you to be responsible for me? Aoshue's voice was very cold, but unlike before, she glared and said, "My name is Aoshue. Longao, let me tell you, today's matter, I will definitely not let it go, just you wait." Since the other party was unwilling to mention his identity, Longao did not continue to ask. "I'll wait." Mph, where are we now? Shrugging his shoulders, Longao also said helplessly, "I don't know. I just searched once. The entire cave is a dead end. There are no exits. However, there are 12 pictures carved on the 4 walls. Pattern." Aoshue seemed to be very curious. Resisting the pain in her body, Aoshue stood up and walked towards the wall in front of her. After taking a look, Aoshue's expression changed. She shouted in surprise, "I finally found it. I finally found it. Thank you, old ancestor. Thank you, old ancestor." Looking at the crazy Aoshue, Longao was very curious. He asked, "Aoshue, what happened to you?" "Longao, I entered the Thunder Forest mainly to find these 12 patterns. After so many years, the sect couldn't find them. I didn't expect that I would find them. This is great. My Ghost King sect can finally rise." Ghost King sect. Hearing the Ghost King sect mentioned by Aoshue, Longao was shocked. He was certainly familiar with the Ghost King sect mentioned by Aoshue. The Ghost King sect was a super sect above the Thunder Empire. The Flowing Cloud sect was nothing in front of the Ghost King sect. It could be said that even the Thunder Empire didn't dare to provoke the Ghost King sect. This was the strength and foundation of the Ghost King sect. "Aoshue, are you a disciple of the Ghost King sect?" Aoshue seemed to have realized that she had said something wrong. She snorted and said, "Whether I am a disciple of the Ghost King sect or not, what does it have to do with you? Longao, let me tell you, you and I are irreconcilable." Somewhat helpless, Longao finally knew why Aoshue was so strong and proud. She turned out to be a disciple of the Ghost King sect. What's more, Longao could guess that Aoshue's status and identity in the Ghost King sect was definitely not simple. Otherwise, how could Aoshue reach the peak of the fusion realm at such a young age? Longao knew very well that a warrior's talent was far from enough. The full cultivation of the family or the sect was also incomparably important. Because of this, Longao was very sure that Aoshue's identity in the Ghost King sect was definitely not simple. "Aoshue, these 12 patterns belong to the Ghost King sect. Of course, these 12 patterns are a profound cultivation method and martial skill. It is the unique skill of the ancestor of the Ghost King sect. But for so many years, the ancestor's skill has been missing. No matter how hard we search, we can't find it. The ancestor of the Ghost King sect." Although Aoshue did not say it clearly, Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew how amazing the ancestor who could create the Ghost King sect was. In that case, the unique skill carved on the patterns must be extraordinary. Longao had just looked at the patterns carved on the stone wall and found that he could not understand them at all. After looking at them for a long time, he felt a sense of shock in his heart. Longao, have you just seen the patterns on the stone wall?" Longao did not hide anything. He nodded and admitted, "Yes, before you woke up, I did see the patterns carved on the stone wall, but I could not understand them. Not only that, I felt that my soul would be eroded by the power of the patterns." "That's right. That's right." Longao was very depressed, but he did not say anything. After all, the 12 patterns in front of him must be extraordinary. "Longao, are you very curious about the origin of these 12 patterns?" Longao also did not hide anything and said, "Yes, I am very curious. If you are willing to tell me, I will be happy to listen. If not, it's okay." In any case, since the 12 patterns were the treasures of the Ghost King sect, even if he was very curious, if Aoshue did not want to tell him, he would not ask more. The old ancestor of my Ghost King sect was an extremely talented individual. Back then, he relied on his own 2 hands to establish the foundation of the Ghost King sect. The 12 pictures you see are actually one picture. However, it was broken by the old ancestor back then because he was worried that this picture would fall into the hands of others. This picture is called the Endless Blood Sea. Chapter 98. Endless Blood Sea? What a domineering name. The 12 patterns were equivalent to one pattern, which could also be considered as a weapon. "Aoshue, the patterns are engraved on the stone walls. Do you want to take away the surrounding walls?" With regards to this point, Longao was very curious because the surrounding stone walls of the cave were connected to the entire cave. Wanting to take away the 12 pictures was simply an impossible thing. Seeming somewhat disappointed, Aoshue said, "According to the sect's legends, The old ancestor had already merged the endless blood sea diagram back then. Furthermore, it was hidden very deeply. If I am not wrong, the true endless blood sea diagram is hidden in one of the 12 diagrams. Even Aoshue didn't know why she had to tell him these things. After thinking for a while, Longao asked, "Do you need my help?" Waving his hand, Aoshue's expression suddenly became serious. He said helplessly, "Only one of the 12 patterns contains the real endless blood sea map. So we must hit it with one blow. If we fail, all 12 patterns will disappear and our lives will be in danger." Longao was not a fool. Of course, he could hear the seriousness in Aoshue's words. "Aoshue, do you have a way to identify which of the 12 patterns contains the real endless blood sea map?" Bloodline. Bloodline? After thinking for a while, Longao had already guessed Aoshue's method. Because of this, Longao was even more curious about Aoshue's identity. He did not know what Aoshue's identity was in the Ghost King sect. After taking a deep look at Longao, Aoshue suddenly sat on the ground, looked at the seat beside him, and said, "Do you want to hear about the endless blood sea map?" Longao nodded. Of course, he wanted to know. He came to Aoshue's side and sat down about 2 meters away. The endless blood sea map is the most precious treasure of the Ghost King sect. It was obtained by the Great Ancestor by accident. The Great Ancestor spent a lot of effort and finally came up with a way to create a bloodline divine artifact. Only the direct bloodline of the Great Ancestor can open the endless blood sea map. Aoshue, do you mean that you possess the bloodline of the Ghost King sect's ancestor? Since things had come to this point, Aoshue did not continue to hide it. She nodded and said, "I do have the blood of the Great Ancestor in my body, but whether I can succeed is still unknown. After all, since the fall of the Great Ancestor, the endless blood sea map has disappeared, and no one has gotten the endless blood sea map." There was no need to ask. Longao already knew that Aoshue's status and identity in the Ghost King sect was definitely not simple. Since that's the case, why don't you give it a try and see the result? Nodding, Aoshue was also a little excited because she had finally found the most precious treasure of the Ghost King sect that had disappeared for so many years. If she gave it up, she would not even have the chance to regret it. Aoshue stood up and came to the first pattern. She released her bloodline and tried to communicate with the pattern in front of her. She shook her head. There was no aura. Aoshue knew that there was no real endless blood sea map in this pattern. In this way, Aoshue began to sense the patterns one by one. Until the 12th pattern was completely sensed, she still did not sense the aura of the real endless blood sea map. Could it be that there was no endless blood sea map in the 12 patterns? Aoshue, what's wrong? It's none of your business. Aoshue glared fiercely and sat on the ground gloomily. Her face was full of anger. Longao was a little stunned. He did not know what was wrong with Aoshue. He sighed deeply in his heart. Sigh, women, this is what women are like. A woman's heart is really like a needle at the bottom of the sea. You have no idea what a woman is thinking. Longao did not ask for a rebuff. He looked at the 12 patterns again, one after another. He studied them carefully, but still did not find anything. Even Aoshue's bloodline could not sense the real endless blood sea map. Longao knew that it would not be as easy to find the real endless blood sea map among the 12 patterns. Hey! Surprised, Longao's eyes suddenly fixed on the corner in front of him. There was a round turntable there. It was black and white, like the 8 trigrams. What are you shouting for? Can't you see that I'm thinking about something? Before Aoshue finished speaking, she had already discovered that in the direction Longao was looking at, she had also seen the circular turntable, especially the black and white 8 trigrams. What is this thing? Aoshue was very curious. However, Aoshue was not stupid. Of course, she knew that the round turntable was not ordinary. Just as Aoshue was about to attack, she was pulled back by Longao. Brat, you're taking advantage of me again. Longao could be said to be extremely speechless towards Aoshue. He loosened his hand and said seriously, Aoshue, this is no small matter. If I did not guess wrongly, this circular spinning wheel should not be simple. It is best that you do not touch it. He took a deep look at the young man, and then at the roulette wheel. In the end, he came to a stop. Pouting her small mouth, Aoshue seemed to be very unhappy and said, "I'm not listening to you. I also feel that something is wrong here." He smiled helplessly. At this moment, Longao's expression changed. He picked up Aoshue and ignored Aoshue's shocked and angry eyes. The two of them quickly left. Just as he left, a cold light was already shot out from the round turntable, brushing past his shoulder. The cold light shot onto the ground, creating a huge pit. Seeing this situation, no matter if it was Longao or Aoshue, their faces changed greatly. "Longao, it's coming again." There was no need for Aoshue to remind him. Longao carried Aoshue and ran all the way. However, the speed of the cold light emitted from the circular roulette was simply too fast. It almost chased after the two of them. Every time, they brushed past each other. There were even a few times when the two of them were almost killed by the cold light. Longao was not stupid. Of course, he knew that if this continued, the two of them would be killed sooner or later. Therefore, he had to think of a way to get rid of the round turntable as soon as possible. "Longao, what should we do now?" Women were women. In an emergency situation, they still had to rely on men. At this moment, Longao could be said to be extremely depressed because there was no exit in the entire cave. He could only be chased by the cold light. It was unknown if it was because he was too anxious, but in his anxiety, Longao quickly shot towards the 6th pattern among the 12 patterns. "Longao, are you crazy?" Aoshue was shocked when she saw Longao running towards the stone wall. However, the situation was out of her control. Although Longao's realm was lower than hers, he was not weak at all. For some reason, Aoshue had a feeling that with her strength, she might not be able to defeat Longao. Chapter 99. Kaihua Town, Long Family. Wang Yuan received the Millennium Thunder Fruit that Longao sent over. On the third day, she had already woken up. Seeing Yu Yin wake up, everyone was pleasantly surprised. But at this time, a mysterious and powerful expert appeared in the Long family. A gray-haired old woman with a walking stick, her face was full of wrinkles. She swayed as she walked, as if a gust of wind could blow her away. Seeing the old woman, Yu Yin's face lit up. She bowed and said, "Master. Temph, you still know that I'm your master?" "Master." Yu Yin was submissive. Wang Yu Yin had always been afraid of this mysterious and powerful master. Especially last time, she didn't leave with her master. The old woman's face was cold. She coldly snorted and said, "I don't know what's so good about that stinking brat that you actually gave up on the cultivation method that you've been cultivating for 10 years. Master, I'm sorry." After a deep sigh, the old woman suddenly said, "I already know about your matter. Since this child is loyal, I'll let him go for now. Yu Yin, the main reason why I came here is to prepare to take you away from Kaihua Town." Wang Yuan was shocked. She had never thought of leaving Kaihua Town, leaving Longao. Seeing Yu Yin hesitate, the old woman heavily snorted and said, "Yu Yin, if you don't come with me and are still as willful as last time, I'll immediately kill Longao." "Master, don't. I'll ask you one last time. Are you coming with me or not?" Wang Yuan was very clear in her heart that her master was definitely a person who would do what he said. If she didn't agree, her master would really kill Longao. Helpless, Yu Yin nodded and agreed, "Master, I'll go with you. But you must promise me that no matter what, I won't continue to cultivate that cultivation method. For that stinking brat. I once promised him. Thus, even if I die, I will not cultivate again. Master, please forgive me." "All right, but Yu Yin, this time when you leave with me, you are not allowed to return for at least 3 years, or at most 10 years. But you can rest assured that this time, I will bring you to a place. When you see Longao again, you will have stepped into the ranks of the top experts." Woodenly nodding her head, Yu Yin had no interest in the top masters at all. She said, "Thank you, Master. Let's go." "Master, I want to write a letter to Longao." "No, I will tell the Long family about this. Let's go. Regardless of whether Wang Yuyin was willing or not, the old granny pulled Wang Yuyin's hand and disappeared without a trace. In the next moment, the head of the Long family, Long Haosha, received the news that Yuyin had been taken away by a mysterious expert. Although he was extremely unwilling in his heart, he was powerless to do anything. Not to mention whether or not this mysterious expert was Wang Yuyin's master, just his strength alone was not something the Long family could compare to. Thunder Forest, inside the mysterious cave. Being constantly attacked by the circular wheel, Longao finally had no choice but to bring Aoshue to crash into the pattern on the wall. Aoshue was so scared that she did not know what was going on. Could it be that this stinking brat was being chased until he became stupid? Just when Aoshue thought that the two of them would be smashed into smithereens, the scene of the god equipment appeared. Not only did the two of them not smash into the wall, they even flashed past it and instantly disappeared into the wall. Stinking brat, what happened? Instead of crashing into the wall, Aoshue suddenly opened her eyes with a face full of surprise. This was because they had already passed through the wall and arrived in a stone room. There was a bed, a table, and a chair. Especially the pattern hanging on the wall, it was particularly eye-catching. Endless blood sea pattern? Before Longao could answer, Aoshue suddenly saw the pattern hanging on the wall. She quickly flew towards the wall, but Longao pulled her back. His voice was very serious as he said, "Aoshue, calm down. Stinking brat, why did you stop me?" Aoshue was very excited. She had not sensed any of the 12 patterns before, and now the endless blood sea pattern was right in front of her. Was she going to give up so easily? Aoshue, if I am not mistaken, this endless blood sea pattern must have offensive powers. Look. Longao took out a gold coin and threw it at the endless blood sea map on the wall. Before it touched the map, it was shot by the endless blood sea map. The gold coin turned into nothingness. Seeing this, Aoshue was shocked. She finally knew why Longao had stopped her. Aoshue, try and see if your blood can communicate with this endless blood sea pattern. Aoshue nodded. Of course, she knew what Longao meant. She stopped 2 meters away from the endless blood sea pattern and took a deep breath. Then, the blood in her body boiled as she tried to communicate with the endless blood sea pattern. In just a few seconds, Aoshue's face was full of joy. She nodded and said excitedly, "My blood can sense the call of the endless blood sea pattern. This is great, this is great." Communicated. Longao did not feel the slightest bit excited. He did not know why, but he felt that this was a bit strange. Was the endless blood sea pattern just outside? If that was the case, did it not mean that any personal disciple of the Ghost King sect who came in could get the endless blood sea map? Longao felt that this was not so simple. But since things had come to this point, Longao did not say anything. Just like that, Aoshue successfully communicated with the endless blood sea pattern. Then, she was about to reach out and take the endless blood sea pattern. But at this moment, several red lights suddenly shot out from the endless blood sea pattern. They were so fast that Aoshue did not even have time to react. But at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Aoshue. He was hit by several red lights and spat out blood. His whole body flew backward. Aoshue was shocked. She hurriedly chased after him and caught Longao in midair. "Why did you do this?" At this moment, Aoshue was completely moved. She never thought that Longao would risk his life to save her, and almost lose his life. Longao was shot by several blood rays. Longao was very weak, but his face was very firm. He said, "No matter if you are willing or not, I will still say the same thing. I will be responsible. From now on, you are my, Longao's, woman. No matter what, I will stand in front of you, even if we meet with life and death." Hearing this, Aoshue stared at Longao, who was lying in her arms. Suddenly, Aoshue began to cry loudly. Women were emotional creatures. No matter how strong she was, Aoshue was still a woman. Chapter 100. Heroes have a weakness for beauties. On the other hand, beauties sometimes have a weakness for heroes as well. For a man who would die for her and take away her virginity, what else could she do? Sitting up with difficulty, Longao shrugged helplessly and said, "Aoshue, you're too reckless. The endless blood sea map is not as simple as it looks." Nodding, Aoshue's attitude had unknowingly undergone a drastic change. Even Aoshue herself did not notice it. She said, "I know. Just now, my bloodline communicated with the pattern. I thought I could get the endless blood sea map, but I didn't expect it." Aoshue did not continue speaking. There was a trace of fear in her eyes. "Brat, what should I do?" She was still a brat. Perhaps in Aoshue's eyes, the words brat represented a different meaning. Longao did not think too much about it. After resting for a while, he felt much better. He stood up and did not dare to approach the endless blood sea map on the wall. He began to observe the treasure of the Ghost King sect from afar. Until now, Longao still could not figure out why Aoshue's bloodline had communicated with the pattern but was still attacked by the endless blood sea map. Just now, when he tried to resist, Longao was shocked to find that with his current strength, he could not resist the bloodlight at all. "Aoshue, is there any legend about the endless blood sea map that you have not noticed?" After thinking for a while, Aoshue of course understood the meaning of Longao's words. She said, "According to the rumors in the sect, the endless blood sea map left by the ancestor is a combination of the bloodlines of millions of people. It is the most vicious and vicious weapon." Before Aoshue finished speaking, Longao waved his hand and said, "I know what's going on." Aoshue's face lit up. She asked impatiently, "What's going on?" The endless blood sea map on the wall should be a taboo set by the ancestor of the Ghost King sect. Even with the bloodline communication, it is not easy to get the endless blood sea map. Creak, creak, creak. Suddenly, Longao heard the little guy in his arms squeaking. He was very curious, because under normal circumstances, Long Chong would not squeak. Could it be that something had happened? Longao didn't hide anything from Aoshue. He carried the Long Chong out of his arms and listened to the Long Chong's incessant squeaking. At the same time, he communicated with Long Fu. He wanted to ask Long Fu what the Long Chong's incessant squeaking meant. Little snake. A little snake that could squeak. Surprised, Aoshue looked at the little snake in Longao's arms and asked curiously, "Brat, what is this?" "Dragon whelp. Dragon cub." Aoshue obviously didn't believe it. But seeing that Longao didn't seem to be joking, she asked in surprise, "Brat, is this really a dragon whelp?" Aoshue had never seen such a special colossal dragon infant before. She seemed to have thought of something and had an expression of sudden realization. She said, "I nearly forgot. You are a disciple of the Dragon Clan's branch. You can become a dragon cultivator." Long family was one of the strongest powers in the Tianwu continent. Especially dragon warriors, they were one of the most terrifying powers in the world. Longao, as far as I know, the Long family has countless branches and is divided into 9 ranks. Only those of the 3rd rank and above can enter the Dragon Valley to choose a partner and become a dragon warrior. And the probability is 1 in 10,000. You are only a 6th rank disciple. How is it possible? Longao smiled. He naturally understood what Aoshue meant. Wait a moment. Longao didn't have time to care about Aoshue. Through Long Fu's words, he already knew what Long Chong wanted. She wanted to absorb the power of the endless blood sea diagram. What was going on? "Aoshue, I want to discuss something with you. This little thing wants to absorb the power of the endless blood sea diagram." "No, there is no room for discussion." Aoshue did not even think about it and directly refused. Longao wasn't surprised by Aoshue's refusal. No matter what, the endless blood sea diagram was the treasure of the Ghost King sect. It would be strange if Aoshue agreed. But Longao really couldn't bear to refuse her request. On one side was Xiao Qiong, and on the other was his woman. How should he choose? "Brat, can it really absorb the power of the endless blood sea diagram?" Longao nodded. In fact, he didn't know whether the little thing could absorb it or not. But since Long Chong said so, it shouldn't be wrong. Aoshue thought for a while, and finally said, "You can let it try. If it can, I choose to compromise." Aoshue. Without giving Longao any chance to speak, Aoshue said, "Forget it. With my strength, I can't take away the endless blood sea diagram. What's more, whether we can leave alive is still unknown. Instead of staying here for nothing, let it take advantage of us." Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew that Aoshue chose to compromise mainly for his sake. Although she didn't say it explicitly, her actions had already shown everything. "Xiao Qiong, don't be reckless. Do what you can." After putting Long Chong on the ground, a shadow flashed, and the little thing's body disappeared on the spot, shooting toward the endless blood sea diagram. Just as Longao and Aoshue looked on in shock, Long Chong's body was already lying on the diagram. The endless blood sea diagram didn't attack Long Chong. Both Longao and Aoshue were extremely shocked. This was because they had seen with their own eyes how terrifying the power of the bloody light shot out by the endless blood sea diagram was. The two, who didn't have confidence, didn't know how to feel when they saw the little thing ignore the diagram. Comparisons were odious. Long Chong lay on the diagram, emitting a strange power that directly covered the entire diagram. At this time, the endless blood sea in the endless blood sea diagram was rapidly absorbed by the little thing. The speed was extremely fast. "Longao, tell me honestly, where did you get this little thing?" Longao was not a fool. Of course, he understood the meaning of Aoshue's words. Without hiding anything, he told the story of how he entered the Dragon Valley. After listening, Aoshue said, "You're really bold. You actually dared to enter the Dragon Valley. If the high-ranking Long family knows that you entered the Dragon Valley, you'll be in big trouble." Nodding, Longao said, "I know. This time, the little thing absorbed the power of the endless blood sea diagram. It's causing you trouble. All right, don't take advantage of me." He shrugged helplessly. Just like that, the two of them stared at Long Chong in front of them and continued to absorb the power of the endless blood sea diagram. Time passed bit by bit. After an unknown amount of time, Aoshue cried out in surprise. She pointed at the little fellow on the diagram and exclaimed, "The little thing is starting to grow." Chapter 101. It grew. Looking at Xiao Qiong, who had been absorbing the endless blood sea map for an hour, Longao seemed to be a little surprised. Sure enough, Long Chong, who was originally in the form of a small snake, began to grow thick black dragon scales at this moment, almost the same as the fire dragon that Long Marrow had obtained. Sure enough, Xiao Qiong was really a mutant divine dragon, but before the transformation, it was just like a small snake, but now? The small snake had transformed into a small dragon, and Longao was really looking forward to seeing how powerful Xiao Qiong was after the transformation. "Brat, what is the origin of this little thing of yours?" How could Longao not know the meaning of Aoshue's words? Not to mention her, even he himself did not know the origin of this little fellow. However, there was one thing that Longao was very sure of. The origin of this little fellow that he had obtained was definitely not simple. Before Longao could speak, the transformed Long Chong suddenly let out a dragon's roar that resounded through the stone room. Then, a powerful dragon's breath emanated from Long Chong's body, directly shrouding the entire stone room. What a terrifying power! Longao also sensed how powerful the aura that Long Chong was emitting now was. Long Fu had already said before that Long Chong's physique was almost exactly the same as his, which was the desolate physique. This physique was very powerful, but it required a lot of power. If it was cultivated under normal circumstances, the desolate physique would definitely be the first useless physique, and he was a living example. However, Longao was very clear that the power contained in the endless blood sea map, the treasure of the Ghost King sect, was definitely no small matter. Otherwise, Long Chong would not have been able to transform into this after only absorbing it for an hour. For some reason, Longao had a feeling that this little guy's strength seemed to have surpassed his at this moment. Once again letting out a loud dragon's roar, the The little guy's body grew bigger and bigger. After 3 roars, from the previous small snake shape, it had transformed into a small dragon more than 2 meters long. Its whole body was pure black, and there were small spots of light. Long Qiong was not much different from an ordinary dragon, but there was one difference, and that was that Long Qiong had a single horn on its forehead, which looked extremely strange. At the same time that the dragon's roar sounded, Long Qiong had returned to Longao's arms, but now Long Qiong's body was 2 meters long, and it was impossible for it to continue resting in Longao's arms. However, what made Longao feel incomparably shocked was that Long Qiong, who had already transformed into a 2-meter-long giant dragon, suddenly shrank his body. In the blink of an eye, he had already returned to his previous appearance. After putting Long Qiong in his arms, Longao looked at the endless Bloodsea map hanging on the stone wall. There was no need to touch it. Longao already knew that at this moment, the endless Bloodsea map had become a useless map, and it was no longer the powerful superweapon it used to be. Aoshue, I'm sorry. Longao felt a little guilty. No matter what, the endless Bloodsea map was the treasure of the Ghost King sect, but now it had been completely absorbed by Long Qiong. It's the same for the big one, and it's the same for the small one. Longao shrugged helplessly. Things had already come to this point. Longao did not continue to be entangled in this matter because the most important thing now was to think of all kinds of ways to leave this place. Before Longao could speak, Aoshue had already asked, "What should we do now?" "Of course we have to find the exit. You look, I'm going to rest." Seeing Aoshue sitting cross-legged on the bed and began to rest, Longao was depressed. He had no choice but to turn around and look for the exit. Longao did not look for the exit blindly. He went directly to the endless Bloodsea map and stared at it. The endless Bloodsea map is useless. It's useless to look at it again. Ignoring Aoshue, Longao stretched out his hand and took down the endless Bloodsea map that had been scrapped. As expected, a black passageway that was neither big nor small appeared behind the map. "Aoshue, I'm leaving now." Aoshue had already opened her eyes. She did not give Longao a chance at all. She shot out and came to the black passage, and without thinking, she went in. Looking at the disappearing buttocks, Longao smiled. Aoshue looked unreasonable, but she was actually a very cute girl. The two entered the black passage, one in front and one behind. They walked forward step by step. The black passage was so dark that they could not see their fingers in front of them. At first glance, it was really scary and strange. "Ch, stinking brat, are you a man or not? You let a girl walk in front, but you walk behind. I despise you." Longao, who was walking carefully with full concentration, almost stumbled when he heard Aoshue's complaint. He looked at Aoshue in a daze, not knowing what to say for a moment. Who did he offend? Turning her head to take a look, Aoshue suddenly laughed out loud. She said with a smile, "Stinky brat, let me tell you this. You are not allowed to spread what happened today. Otherwise, I will not let you off. I wouldn't dare." Suddenly, a ray of light appeared in the black passage. The two were overjoyed and quickened their steps. After a while, the two successfully left the black passage and appeared in the forest. Thunder Forest. Longao was completely sure that the two of them had successfully left the cave. However, when they turned their heads to look at the black passage, they found that the passage had disappeared. How mysterious. Longao smiled and said, "There are about 5 days until the Thunder Battle. I'm going to participate in the Thunder Battle. What about you?" The Thunder Battle would last for 10 days. Longao calculated the time and found that the two of them had been in the cave for more than 4 days. Half of the Thunder Battle had passed. Therefore, in the next 5 days, Longao was going to get the Spirit Token. No matter what, he had to be in the top 3 of the Thunder Battle. Aoshue thought for a while, and her voice suddenly turned cold. She said, "Who are you to me? What right do you have to control me? You're really interesting. Stinking brat, I'll tell you again. Don't tell anyone about what happened today. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Stinking brat." Before she left, Aoshue did not forget to scold him. Longao stood there dumbfounded. He did not know what was wrong with Aoshue. She seemed to change every now and then. When was Aoshue's true face? A woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the ocean. Longao sighed helplessly. He did not chase after Aoshue because he knew that he was not qualified to talk about love now. The first thing he had to do was to stand out in the thunder battle and obtain more spirit tokens. According to Liu Feng and Hao Chao, as long as he could get a good ranking in the thunder battle, even the Thunder Royal family would not do anything to him. More importantly, they would not do anything to the Long family behind him. Chapter 102. He had a head of white hair and was dressed in black. His resolute face was filled with vicissitudes of life. Longao left the cave and dashed through the thunder forest. Whenever he saw a target, he would not show any mercy. He would immediately kill them and snatch their soul tokens. Peng! Just as Longao was about to rest, he suddenly sensed an earth-shattering sound coming from the front. Out of curiosity, he immediately dashed over. Kwong Ao was surrounded by 3 people and was already covered in wounds. His face was pale and his body was on the verge of collapsing. It was unknown when he would collapse. Kwong Ao, I'm here to help you. Long Ao truly treated Kwong Ao as a friend. Seeing his friend in trouble, how could he not help? Before Long Ao arrived, the horrifying saber light had already arrived. The 3 were forced back by Long Ao's saber light. They did not continue their attack and chose to stop. Brother Long, many thanks. Domineering arrogance endured his wobbly body and held on, not falling to the ground. Seeing Kwong Ao in such a state, Long Ao's face turned extremely gloomy. He looked at the 3 people before him and asked, "Who are you 3? How dare you injure my friend? And who are you? Evolved cultivator?" Sensing that this youth was actually an evolved cultivator, the 3 of them were shocked. However, Yi Bing and the other 2 did not think much of him. They said coldly, "Thunder Nation Guardian Hall's Yi Bing, Du Jianhao, and Du Jianhao." Thunder Nation Guardian Hall? Hearing their identities, Long Ao was also shocked. After all, he did not get along well with the 3rd prince of the Thunder Royal family. "Brat, who are you?" "Scarlet Fire Town's Long Ao." "Scarlet Fire Town's Long Ao?" Hearing Long Ao's self-introduction, the 3 of them had strange expressions. Yi Bing suddenly smiled coldly and said, "So you are Long Ao. We have been searching high and low for you. Brat, are you going to kill yourself or do you want me to help you? Are the 3 of you out of your minds?" Long Ao had already guessed that these 3 people were related to the 3rd prince, Zhao Hao. It seemed that Zhao Hao would not let him off. Trouble had already arrived. "Long Ao, do you really think you can leave the Thunder Forest alive after offending the 3rd prince?" "Humph. Long Ao, don't say I didn't warn you. Not only did the 3rd prince issue a kill order for you in the Thunderbolt Kingdom Defender Hall, but all of the Kingdom Defender Halls in the 32 kingdoms. Do you really think you can avoid that? Kill order?" Long Ao did not doubt Zhao Hao's words at all. After all, Zhao Hao was the 3rd prince of the Thunder Empire. The 32 kingdoms were all vassal states of the Thunder Empire. If Zhao Hao issued a kill order to him, would the members of the National Guard Hall of the 32 kingdoms refuse? If it was just Zhao Hao alone, no one would bother with him. However, the problem was that Zhao Hao had used the Thunder Empire's name to issue a kill order. Even if the 32 kingdoms were unwilling, they definitely wouldn't offend the Thunder Empire because of this. The total number of people in the 32 kingdoms plus the Thunder Empire had reached more than 300 people, which was the so-called 300-plus Xiantian realm martial artists. Zhao Hao really thought highly of him. An ordinary person would not be able to withstand such a kill order. But would Long Ao be afraid? With a cold snort, Long Ao said indifferently, "I don't care about the kill order. I only know that you have injured my friend. You will all die." It had to be said that domineering arrogant strength was indeed formidable. In just 5 days in the Thunder Forest, he had broken through to the fusion realm from the one-line sky peak. He could even fight 1 against 3 for such a long time. Ha ha ha, with just you? Hearing Longao's words, it was as if they had heard the funniest joke in the world. The 3 of them laughed crazily. At this time, the 3 of them attacked at the same time. They were all evolved martial artists and the National Guard of the Thunder National Guard Hall. The 3 of them were usually aloof and did not put Longao in their eyes. It was precisely because of their arrogance that the battle was affected. In order to end the battle quickly, Longao used the soul-subduing seal as soon as he attacked. Then, the wild blood saber in his hand fiercely slashed out. Yellow Spring's 9 strikes and Frozen Heart Devour instantly superimposed, and a terrifying saber light ruthlessly chopped down. After evolving to the peak, the power of the soul-subduing seal increased again. It silently invaded the bodies of the 3. Before the 3 of them could react, the soul-subduing seal had already begun to corrode their souls. Shocked, the 3 of them immediately began to circulate their powers to resist this mysterious and strange power. However, it was precisely because of this that when the terrifying saber light slashed down, the 3 of them did not even have the chance to retaliate before they were killed with a single slash. Killing 3 evolved warriors with a single slash? Swallowing his saliva fiercely, Kwang Ao's face was filled with shock. He never thought that Longao's strength would be so strong that he could actually kill 3 evolved warriors with a single slash. What kind of concept was this? Kwang Ao clearly knew that with Longao's current strength, there was almost no one below the fusion realm who could be a match for him. Didn't this mean that Longao was the strongest person below the fusion realm? Brother Long, you're too strong. Longao only smiled. He had obtained 10 soul tokens from the 3 of them. Other than the soul tokens that belonged to the 3 of them, the remaining 7 soul tokens should be the soul tokens that the 3 of them obtained from killing other warriors. Brother Long, what the 3 of them said just now is not false. I have also received news that the 3rd Prince of the Thunder Empire, Zhao Hao, has issued a kill order for you. Not only the Thunder Empire, but also all the warriors in the other 32 kingdoms will want to kill you. It is said that as long as one obtains your head, Zhao Hao will give a great reward. With a smile, Long Ao chose to ignore the kill order. Kwang Ao, I already know about this matter. Regardless of whether Zhao Hao gave the order to kill or not, to me, it only means one thing. No matter who offends me, they will have to pay the price, including the 3rd Prince, Zhao Hao. Kwang Ao understood Brother Long's domineering character and forceful nature very well. Because of this, he did not say much. After thinking for a while, Kwang Ao said, Brother Long, I am also participating in the thunder battle this time. I knew that I would definitely meet you. We are fated to meet. Yes, we are fated to meet. Brother Long, since we have met, why don't we participate in the thunder battle together? Waving his hand, Long Ao naturally would not agree. This did not mean that he was unwilling to participate in the thunder battle together with Kwang Ao. After all, Kwang Ao and Hao Chao's position in his heart was not ordinary. The reason why Long Ao did not agree was very simple. It was because Zhao Hao had issued a kill order for him. If Kwang Ao really participated in the thunder battle together with him, wouldn't Kwang Ao be killed everywhere? As a friend, he would definitely not do that. This was a friend. Chapter 103. For domineering arrogant safety, Long Ao refused directly. Brother Long, don't you treat me as a friend? Shaking his head, Long Ao didn't tell the truth. Instead, he said, domineering arrogant, I like to act alone, so I'm sorry. No matter what, Zhao Hao had already given the order to kill him. The Thunder Empire and the nearly 300 Xiantian martial artists from the 32 kingdoms would all come to kill him. If egotistical were to stay with him, wouldn't he be like a fish in the moat that would be implicated? Looking at Long Ao who had disappeared, domineering arrogant said to himself, I must be friends with such a person. Shortly after leaving, Long Ao met some old acquaintances, several people from the Nebula Guardian Hall, Luo Cheng, Maro Feng, Tong Bo, Hao Jiangjun, Yi Rong, Lin Yi, and Wang Huan. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Longao. Get lost. Longao was too lazy to care about these 7 people. He had already left the Guardian Hall. He didn't want to have any relationship with these 7 people at all. If it weren't for Ouyang Fei, not only Yu Wei, but even these 7 people wouldn't give up easily. Luo Cheng snorted coldly and said in an extremely unpleasant tone, Longao, the Thunder Empire has issued a kill order for you. If we can kill you, we will get a lot of things. When did the Nebula Guardian Hall become the Thunder Empire's henchman? Ha ha ha, Longao, our Nebula royal family is originally a vassal kingdom of the Thunder Empire. Since the Thunder Empire issued a kill order, we have to execute it. What do you think? Longao understood that Luo Cheng and the others were here to kill him. There was no need to guess at all. If there was no accident, when the third Prince Zhao Hao issued a kill order, the reward was quite considerable. Cut the crap. If you want to fight, let's fight. Longao, I have to admit that you are also a top figure, but you don't know what's good for you, so you are destined to die. Luo Cheng waved his hand. Immediately after, the 6 of them swarmed forward. The combined might of 6 evolvers was no small matter. Even if one's cultivation had already broken through to the peak of the evolver realm, it was still not an easy task to kill 6 people in a short period of time. Not to mention, there was also a fusion expert on the side. Once he was held back, the result would be very troublesome. Immediately after, both sides rushed out. In the blink of an eye, both sides were already engaged in a fierce battle. After 3 moves, Longao's blood-sucking blade had already slashed out fiercely. Longao's cultivation had already broken through the peak evolution realm, and his strength was no longer the same as before. But no matter how it was said, the 6 of them were still evolved martial artists. At the same time that the soul-subduing seal was used, Longao grasped blood-drinking Wild Saber and slashed out with the third move of Blood Drinking's 8 moves, Raging Flame Sea. The 8 styles of blood drinking. The first style was Yellow Spring's 9 consecutive strikes. The second style was Heart-Devouring Ice. The third style was Raging Flame Sea. Ever since his cultivation had broken through to the evolution boundary, Longao had been secretly cultivating the third style of the blood-drinking 8 styles, Raging Flame Sea. Now it just so happened to come in handy. At the same time, the raging sea of flames and the shocking saber light instantly turned into countless blood rays, like a sea of blood, rolling over each other. The 6 of them were using all their strength to resist the soul-subduing seal's erosion of their souls. They did not expect Longao to use such a powerful move. Endless sea of blood, Raging Flame Sea. The Raging Flame Sea covered the sky and suppressed the earth, instantly enveloping the 6 of them. Then, one after another, miserable screams rose and fell, and the 6 of them fell down. Longao naturally would not have any mercy. He came in front of the 6 of them and took away all the soul orders on their bodies. Then, he stored their souls into the dragon seal space. No matter what, the 6 of them were evolved martial artists. Once their souls were refined by the blood pool, they could be refined into powerful soul slaves. At that time, he would also have a good helper. As for the one-line heavenly soul slaves that he had refined before, they had already been put into the blood pool to be refined again. Longao, I will tear you to pieces. Seeing the other party kill the 6 of them in one move, Luo Cheng was shocked. But what was the result? Longao did not choose to meet force with force with force. After smoothly killing the 6 of them, he immediately turned around and quickly left. In order to not be caught by Luo Cheng, he slashed out with his saber. Raging Flame Sea, endless flames came out. Having seen the power of the other party's saber light with his own eyes, Luo Cheng did not dare to meet force with force. After dodging, he found that the other party had disappeared without a trace. Inside the Thunder Forest. In front of a secluded boulder, Longao had already told Long Fu to refine the souls of the 6 people into soul slaves at the fastest speed. Once the refining was successful, he would have 6 more bodyguards by his side. Flipping through the soul orders that he had obtained, Longao roughly counted. There were a total of 49 soul orders. According to the calculation of more than 400 people, he had obtained about 1/8 of the soul orders. He had full confidence that 5 days later, when the thunder battle ended, he would definitely be able to enter the top 3. Not continuing to seize the soul orders, Longao sat cross-legged on the ground and began to cultivate. His cultivation had already broken through to the peak of the evolution realm. He was only one step away from breaking through to the fusion realm. However, it was this one step that was exceptionally terrifying. Just like this, Longao cultivated while waiting for Long Fu to refine the soul slaves. In the blink of an eye, 4 days had passed. There was only 1 day left for the thunder battle. In other words, at noon tomorrow, the thunder battle would officially end. After 4 days of cultivation, Longao's cultivation still did not have the slightest progress. It seemed that his desolate saint body still needed a huge amount of power to continuously enter it. Otherwise, it would be extremely difficult to have a breakthrough. The only advantage of the desolate saint body was that once he broke through to the next realm, his strength would be much stronger than a martial artist of the same level. This was also the real reason why Longao had always been able to kill opponents of a higher level. Then, he stood up and stretched his body. "Luo Cheng, I will give you a surprise." With a sneer, Longao's body had already rushed out. At this moment, the thunder battle had reached its most intense moment. Out of more than 400 people, less than 40 people had survived. They had lost a lot of time. No matter who survived this battle, there would only be one final winner, and that was the Thunder Empire. The Thunder Empire held the Thunder Battle to continuously weaken the members of the National Guard Hall of the 32 Kingdoms. The 32 Kingdoms were well aware of the Thunder Empire's conspiracy, but there was nothing they could do. The remaining 40 people all wanted to enter the top 10, especially the top 3. Therefore, the remaining day was also the most intense time of the battle. No matter what, those who could survive were all powerful Xiantian martial artists. Each of them had at least 10 soul orders on them. As long as they killed one person, they would be able to obtain more than 10 soul orders. This kind of thing, why not? Therefore, in the last remaining day, everyone became crazy. Chapter 104. Previously, when Longao left, he left a mark on Luo Cheng's body, so it was very easy to find Luo Cheng. Among the original 10 members of the Nebula Guardian Hall, except for Longao and Hao Chao, only Luo Cheng survived. If the Nebula Kingdom knew about this, the result would be obvious. It was precisely because of this that Longao was ready to eliminate the root of the problem and completely conceal this matter. In any case, Longao regarded Ouyang Fei as a friend, so he didn't want to completely fall out with the Nebula Kingdom unless it was a last resort. At this moment, Luo Cheng could be said to be happy and sad. He was happy because he had participated in the Thunder Battle this time and obtained a total of 23 spirit tokens. He was sad because his few trusted subordinates had all been killed by Longao. "Luo Cheng, how have you been?" Looking at the sudden appearance of Longao, Luo Cheng's face was stunned, then he said with a gloomy smile, "Longao, you really don't know what's good for you. It seems that you are really arrogant." With a sneer, Longao looked around and suddenly said with a smile, "This is a good place. If I bury you here, it should be worthy of you." Ha ha ha. Hearing Longao's words, Luo Cheng's face suddenly turned cold as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. He said coldly, "Longao, you are courting death. You can't blame others." With that said, Luo Cheng's body had already rushed out. Before he arrived, his terrifying aura had already suppressed Yi Shiwen. As a fusion warrior, Luo Cheng's strength was very powerful, especially when he attacked with all his strength. The terrifying spiritual power turned into a sword light and slashed down fiercely. But at this moment, 6 illusory figures suddenly appeared beside Longao. They were Maro Feng, Tong Bo, Hao Jiangjun, Yi Rong, Lin Yi, and Wang Huan, who had just been refined into soul slaves. Luo Cheng, who had already attacked with all his strength, stopped abruptly when he saw the 6 illusory figures suddenly appear. His face was full of shock as if he didn't know what had happened. Luo Cheng swallowed his saliva fiercely as if he had seen a ghost. Impossible, it's impossible. Luo Cheng whispered, his eyes widened because he never thought that the 6 people who had died would be resurrected at this time. Did the 6 people betray him? Why aren't the 6 of you coming over? Do you want to rebel? The 6 people didn't react at all. Seeing this situation, Luo Cheng was even more shocked. He didn't know what happened to the 6 people. Luo Cheng, are you surprised? Longao, what trick did you use? His trick? Not giving Luo Cheng any chance to speak at all, Longao directly gave the order. 6 soul slaves swarmed forward together. The power of 6 evolved martial artists joining hands could be imagined. Luo Cheng's Luo was Luo Cheng's, and Luo Cheng. Although Luo Cheng was incomparably shocked, he did not hold back at all. Fighting 1 against 6, Luo Cheng had already engaged in a fierce battle with the 6 soul slaves. In the blink of an eye, they had already fought for 10 rounds. There was no clear winner. Longao didn't stay idle and directly joined the battle. Longao wielded the wild blood drinking saber, slash after slash, slash after slash, instantly using the first 3 moves of the 8 moves of blood drinking. The first move was Yellow Spring's 9 consecutive strikes, the second move was Ice Seal Devouring, and the third move was Raging Sea of Flames. The third move, Raging Sea of Flames, was very powerful. After the first 3 moves of blood drinking were overlaid, the power wasn't as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Soul slaves. Until now, Longao still hadn't figured out what was going on with the soul slaves that Long Fu had refined. This was because from start to finish, Long Fu hadn't told him anything about soul slaves. Longao's understanding of soul slaves was very limited. First, soul slaves were much stronger than the main body. Second, soul slaves had an undying body. No matter how they were beaten, they couldn't be killed. Because of this, although the 6 soul slaves weren't as strong as Luo Cheng, they relied on their undying bodies and were like moths to a flame. The more he fought, the more alarmed he became. Luo Cheng discovered that the 6 people were simply undying. He already had thoughts of retreating. He knew very well that although he was stronger than the 6 of them, the 6 of them had an undying body. If this continued, would he be able to take advantage of them? If Luo Cheng wanted to leave, would Longao agree? With the help of the 6 soul slaves, Longao didn't show the slightest mercy. While Luo Cheng was focused on dealing with the 6 soul slaves, Longao silently used the soul-suppressing seal. The soul-suppressing seal was a perfect hit. There was not a single time where it failed. This time was no exception. The soul-suppressing seal quietly invaded Luo Cheng's body and began to erode his soul. Under normal circumstances, Luo Cheng would definitely be able to drive away this soul-eroding power. However, the current situation was completely different. Longao simply wouldn't give Luo Cheng any chance. Each move was stronger than the previous one. Each move was vicious. Luo Cheng's soul was being eroded by the soul-suppressing seal. Outside, he was being tightly entangled by the 6 soul slaves. Longao grasped this rare opportunity. The bloodthirsty broadsword in his hand had already fiercely chopped out. With an inconceivable angle, the bloodthirsty broadsword accurately chopped out from the waist, cutting Luo Cheng in half. This is impossible. Impossible. Until the moment of his death, Luo Cheng still couldn't figure out why the 6 people who were already dead were actually alive and standing in front of him. Moreover, they were helping Longao kill him. This world was just this fair. It wouldn't give you a chance to regret. Longao came in front of Luo Cheng and said in a very cold voice, "You brought this upon yourself. You can't blame others." Seeing Luo Cheng breathe his last, Longao took out all the soul orders from Luo Cheng's arms. He turned to look at the 6 soul slaves beside him. He seemed to sigh. Evolved soul slaves were much stronger than first-line heavenly soul slaves. Coupled with the immortal body, the 6 soul slaves were simply too powerful. According to his own strength, with the help of the 6 soul slaves, he could even kill Luo Cheng. Clap clap clap, clap clap clap. At this time, a young man appeared in front of him. His face was cold and his body was emitting waves of killing intent. Looking at Longao, he sneered and said, "Longao, your growth really surprised me. You're at the peak of evolution and can even kill a fusion warrior. Not bad, not bad." The young man who had just appeared was none other than Longao. He had successfully obtained the fire dragon as a partner. Moreover, he had an opportunity to raise his cultivation to the next level. He directly reached the fusion realm from the evolution realm. It was precisely because of this that Longao dared to swagger out when he saw Longao kill Luo Cheng. Long Ming. Longao was also a little surprised. He never thought that he would meet Long Ming in this place. He sneered and snorted, "You're just a loser." War God Sect Group, 217135300. Welcome to the group. If you have anything to say, just say it in the group. Chapter 105. Just a defeated opponent. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Long Ming seemed to have heard the funniest thing in the world. His face was full of disdain and contempt. "Longao, do you know why I entered the Thunder Forest this time? To kill me." "That's right, Longao. You're indeed very smart, but your intelligence ends here today." "You." Longao was also a little surprised because he could clearly sense that Long Ming was no longer the one-line sky martial artist from back then, but the current fusion martial artist. They were both fusion martial artists, but their strength was completely different. When they entered the Dragon Valley together, Long Ming had obtained a fire dragon egg. Longao knew that if nothing went wrong, the dragon egg Long Ming obtained should have hatched and grown. Otherwise, he had just killed a fusion martial artist. Was Long Ming a fool? Among the dragons, the level of the fire dragon was considered very high. It was because of this that Longao became slightly serious. However, things had already come to this point. No matter what happened, he had to fight with Long Ming. "Longao, are you afraid?" "Afraid my ass. If you want to fight, then fight. If not, scram." He had to admit that Longao was indeed domineering. Hearing this, Long Ming's eyes gradually turned cold. Then, a terrifying flame aura spread and a 3-meter-long fiery red dragon suddenly appeared. Looking at the fire dragon beside Long Ming, Longao was not afraid at all. In fact, Longao knew very well that the reason Long Ming dared to summon the fire dragon was because this place was secluded. Otherwise, Long Ming would never dare to summon the fire dragon even if he had 10,000 guts. However, he and Long Ming had entered the Dragon Valley to hide it from their Long family. Once the Long family found out, the two of them would be sentenced to death and would definitely be hunted down by the Long family. It was because of this that neither Long Ming nor he could easily summon their dragon companions. Once the Long family found out about this, the consequences would be unimaginable. With a cold smile, Long Ming asked, "Longao, where's your little snake?" With an enlightened expression, Long Ming said, "I almost forgot. Your little snake is too ugly. Not to mention you, I believe that no matter who you gave it to, you would choose to give it up." "Ha ha ha, Longao, I won't look down on you. Idiot. Longao, I'll show you the difference today." With that said, Long Ming and the fire dragon had already rushed out. They did not say anything else. When the man and the dragon worked together, their power was earth-shattering, especially the fire dragon. Putting aside its strength, just its aura alone made Longao feel suffocated. This was his first time fighting with a giant dragon. Longao was also extremely excited. His fighting spirit surged and the blood-sucking blade in his hand had already used the first 3 moves of the 8 moves of blood-sucking. The first move was the Yellow Spring's 9 consecutive strikes, the second move was the Frozen Heart Devouring, and the third move was the Blazing Sea of Flames. The moment they touched, Longao's expression changed drastically again. Although he knew that the fire dragon Long Ming had obtained was powerful, he had still underestimated the strength of the fire dragon. The fusion of a peak fire dragon and Long Ming, who had fused with the realm, was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Shocked, Longao realized that the soul-suppressing seal he used could not erode the souls of the fire dragon and Longming at all. With no other choice, he could only summon 6 soul servants. No matter how strong Longming and the fire dragon's combined strength was, the 6 soul servants were immortal. This alone was enough to stall the man and the dragon. Did he have to use the 9 needles seal of gods? Longao was very clear in his heart that when he used the 9 needles to deal with the flowing cloud sect last time, he was not eroded by the power of the backlash. The reason was that because of Yu Yin's sudden accident, his state of mind had changed, and he was barely able to resist the backlash. Moreover, his cultivation had a faint breakthrough. However, he would not be so lucky every time. If he used the 9 needles seal of gods this time and could not resist the backlash, not only would he not be able to deal with Longming and the fire dragon, it might even make things worse. Longao had full confidence that once he used the 9 needles seal of gods, his strength would skyrocket. At that time, it would be more than enough to deal with the fire dragon and Longming. After weighing the pros and cons, Longao finally chose to give up using the 9 needles seal of gods. Just like that, without using the 9 needles seal of gods, Longao was forced to retreat step by step. The blood-sucking blade in his hand could not cut through the flame shield released by the fire dragon. Even the soul-suppressing seal could not erode it. One had to know that the soul-suppressing seal was his trump card every time. But now, his trump card was useless. Longao's 2 biggest trump cards were the soul-suppressing seal and the blood-sucking 8 styles. Both of his trump cards were useless and Longao had no other choice. However, if this continued, the consequences could be imagined. Longming did not use his full strength, as if he wanted to humiliate the other party. The huge fire dragon continued to release flames that covered the sky and earth, suppressing fiercely. Just this point alone would make Longming invincible. Just like that, Longming and the fire dragon closed in step by step and Longao retreated step by step. Longao, weren't you very arrogant just now? What's wrong now? Are you scared? Ha ha ha, Longao, I will definitely torture you to death today. Longming had always been unconvinced when he was defeated by Longao last time. He wanted to find a chance to regain his face. Now that he had finally found a chance, how could Longming give up so easily? Trash. I'm trash. You can't even beat trash. It seems like you're worse than trash. Longming's expression turned cold, as if he did not want to delay any longer. Because he had already summoned the fire dragon, once others found out, he would be in endless trouble. It was because of this that Longming was prepared to end the battle quickly. It was because of this that when the fire dragon released the power of flames, it also rushed out and attacked with all its strength, gathering all its strength into one point. How could Longao not know what Longming meant? At this moment, a dragon's roar suddenly sounded from Longming's arms, resounding through the world. Then, a pure black dragon more than 2 meters long with a single horn on its forehead appeared and stared at the fire dragon. Dragon? Black dragon? A black dragon with a single horn? Looking at the dragon that suddenly appeared, Longming was completely dumbfounded. Because he had never thought that the other party would have a dragon as well. Could this dragon in front of him be the so-called little snake? Although Long Qiong's body was only 2 meters long, the moment he appeared, his powerful aura spread in all directions and directly enveloped the fire dragon. In the dragon race, dragons were also divided into different levels. In the case of the same level of strength, the difference in level could almost effortlessly defeat the opponent. Chapter 106. Xiao Qiong, kill it. Hearing Long Ao's words, Long Qiong let out a dragon's roar. Then, Long Qiong's body rushed out. Before he arrived, his terrifying aura had already suppressed the fire dragon. The fire dragon seemed to be suppressed and took a few steps back. If Longming hadn't stopped it, the fire dragon would have escaped at this moment. The suppression of the dragon's level made the fire dragon not dare to resist at all. Seeing that his partner wanted to escape, Longming's expression changed. Was the other party's dragon level higher than the fire dragon? Unable to retreat, the fire dragon was forced to fight. In the blink of an eye, the fire dragon and Long Qiong collided fiercely. As for Longao, he laughed coldly and rushed out. Without the fire dragon's help, Long Ming seemed to have lost his arms and was restrained. It was because of this that Longao could make a comeback without the fire dragon's suppression. The two dragons fought. Longao and Long Ming fought. The division of labor was clear. Even without the fire dragon's help, Long Ming was full of confidence. The fusion realm was above the evolution realm. However, in the battle just now, Longao's strength had already deeply shocked Long Ming. The first 3 styles of the blood-sucking 8 styles, the first style was the Yellow Spring's 9 consecutive strikes, the second style was the heart-biting ice, and the third style was the blazing sea of flames. Not only that, Longao also used the soul-suppressing seal at the same time and invaded Long Ming's body silently. But what shocked Longao was that the soul-suppressing seal couldn't invade Long Ming's body at all. What was going on? Longao had always been confident in his soul-suppressing seal. It could be said that it was perfect. But now, it couldn't invade Long Ming's body at all. With no other choice, Longao could only rely on the 8 styles of Blood Drinker. Under the combination of the 3 styles, each move was stronger than the last. As the battle continued to escalate, Long Ming gradually couldn't hold on anymore. The more he fought, the more shocked he became. Especially when the 2 dragons were fighting, the fire dragon was gradually unable to hold on. No. He watched as Longao's partner directly suppressed his own fire dragon and began to devour it. Even the flesh and blood of the fire dragon were being eaten mouthful by mouthful. Not to mention Long Ming, even Longao was extremely shocked. This was because he had never thought that the little fellow would be so domineering and bloody. She even ate the meat of the fire dragon bite by bite. The entire fire dragon was eaten clean. Long Qiong seemed to want more and shot towards Long Ming without any hesitation. Just like that, Long Ming, who had the upper hand, was completely suppressed by Longao. Especially with Long Qiong's help, it was like adding wings to a tiger. At this moment, Long Ming already knew very well that with his current strength, it was impossible for him to defeat the other party. If he hadn't experienced it personally, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. With his fusion realm strength, he couldn't even defeat a mere evolution realm opponent. Unable to defeat the other party, Long Ming prepared to turn and leave. But would Longao agree? Having seen Long Qiong's strength, Longao was full of confidence that with his and Long Qiong's combined strength, they would definitely be able to make the other party stay. Eliminate the source of trouble so that it wouldn't grow again. It was precisely because of this that Longao couldn't let Long Ming go. He and Long Qiong pressed on, attacking the other party ruthlessly from both sides. Longao used the soul-suppressing seal that he couldn't invade earlier. As expected, Long Ming's mind was already in a mess at this moment. The soul-suppressing seal invaded the other party's body silently and started to corrode Long Ming's soul. Long Ming, who was already in a mess, actually felt a strange power starting to corrode his soul. His expression was shocked and he didn't dare to be careless. He circulated all the strength in his body and started to resist the power that corroded his soul. Longao didn't give up such a rare opportunity. The blood-sucking blade, in his hand, had already quickly slashed out 3 moves. It was the first 3 moves of the blood-sucking 8 moves. The first 3 moves of the blood-sucking 8 moves, the first move was the Yellow Spring 9 consecutive strikes, the second move was the heart-devouring ice, and the third move was the sea of flames. The 3 moves overlapped and slashed towards Long Ming ruthlessly. If it was under normal circumstances, Long Ming would definitely be able to dodge it. But now, Long Ming, who was focused on resisting the corroding soul power in his body, couldn't resist Longao's full attack at all. The blood-sucking blade slashed down ruthlessly from head to toe, directly splitting Long Ming in half. The blood-sucking blade was very bloody and directly started to devour Long Ming's blood. In just a minute, Long Ming's blood was completely absorbed, and before Longao could deal with Long Ming's soul. Longao thought that Long Ming's soul would definitely be absorbed by the blood-sucking blade, but he realized that it wasn't. In surprise, Longao immediately put Long Ming's soul and the fire dragon's soul into the dragon seal space, preparing to refine them into soul slaves. Longao knew very well that he only had 6 evolved soul slaves by his side now. Once he met a fusion expert, he would have to take action himself. Just like now, it was very difficult for him to resist the combined forces of the fire dragon and Long Ming. If he could refine Long Ming and the fire dragon into soul slaves, even if he met a fusion expert, he would be able to easily destroy them. Looking at the corpses on the ground, Longao let out a long sigh of relief. After successfully killing Long Ming and the fire dragon, Longao's soul entered the dragon seal space. Long Fu, now that Luo Cheng, Long Ming, and the fire dragon's souls are here, how long will it take for you to refine them into soul slaves for me? 3 days. If you work harder, you'll probably only need 1.5 days to complete the refinement. But Master, now that these 3 soul slaves have been successfully refined, I'm prepared to help Master refine their energy for the next soul. Master, your own strength is more important. Nodding, Longao naturally understood what Long Fu meant. What he said was right. It was better to rely on oneself than on others. One's own strength was the most important. No matter how many soul slaves there were, it wasn't their own strength. No matter what, it was enough to have Luo Cheng, Long Ming, and the fire dragon's soul slave. He only needed to refine the remaining souls into energy to help himself and Long Chong break through. But one had to know that both he and the little fellow had the desolate physique, and the energy they needed was too great. Just by absorbing it under normal circumstances, who knew how long it would take to break through a level? Therefore, Long Fu borrowed the energy refined from the blood pool to better integrate it and break through. Master, I didn't expect your strength to break through so quickly. I just sensed that your soul-suppressing seal has been cultivated to completion. So Master, you can continue to refine the next seal. Nodding, Longao was looking forward to the seal of destruction. Just the first seal, the soul-suppressing seal, was already so powerful, let alone the next seal. Just thinking about it made him look forward to it. Chapter 107. Seal of Destruction. The Seal of Destruction had a total of 18 moves. Long Fu had only taught Longao the first 4 moves. According to Long Fu, Longao could only practice the first 4 moves with his current strength. As for the remaining 14 moves, he didn't have the strength to practice them yet. The first 4 moves of the Seal of Destruction were the Soul-Suppressing Seal, Dark-Burning Seal, Sky-Burying Seal, and Doomsday Seal. Now that he had practiced the Soul-Suppressing Seal to its peak, the next step was to practice the second move of the Seal of Destruction, Dark-Burning Seal. The anticipation for the Extermination Seal made Longao unable to wait for even a moment. He immediately began to enter a state of cultivation. Noon of the second day. The Battle of Thunder had officially ended. Of the 32 kingdoms, the Thunder Empire, and a few scattered members, there were only less than 30 people left. With a ratio of 10-1, one could imagine how terrifying the Battle of Thunder was. According to the ratio, Longao was ranked second, and the first place went to the Thunder Nation Guardian Hall. Longao was ranked second, shocking the Thunder Empire and 32 kingdoms. As for Longao's background, it was also dug out by the various kingdoms. Especially when they learned that Longao was from the Starcloud Kingdom, everyone was incomparably shocked. Starcloud Kingdom had a total of 10 people participating in the Battle of Lightning. Other than Longao and Hao Chao, almost all of them were annihilated. When the Starcloud Kingdom learned of this, the entire kingdom was shocked. The 2 survivors of the Thunder Battle had both left the Starcloud Kingdom. When Ouyang Fei received this news, he was both pleasantly surprised and sorrowful. He was pleasantly surprised that nothing had happened to Longao and he had even obtained second place in the Thunder Battle. However, he was sad that all of the Starcloud Kingdom's members had died. To the Starcloud Kingdom, this was definitely a terrible news. Starcloud Kingdom's relay station. Uncle Hao, I know this is Luo Cheng's fault. I hope you won't leave the Nation Guardian Hall. Crown Prince, I have already left the Nation Guardian Hall. Hao Chao's face was resolute. Although Luo Cheng was dead, he had already left the Nation Guardian Hall. If he returned now, how would others see him? How could Ouyang Fei not know what Hao Chao was thinking? Facing such an expert, even if he was the crown prince of the kingdom, he was powerless. Helplessly, he looked at Longao. Although he did not speak, the expression on his face had already explained everything. Longao helplessly shrugged and smiled. Brother Hao, the Nebula Guardian Hall is a good choice. If you don't have a place to go, then why don't you stay here? Longao's words were obviously more effective than Ouyang Fei's. After thinking about it, Hao Chao said, in that case, I'll stay in the National Guard Hall for the time being. Ouyang Fei's eyes lit up as he asked, Brother Long, what about you? Shaking his head, Longao hoped that Hao Chao would return to the National Guard Hall, but it was impossible for him to do so. Big brother Ouyang, I'm a person who likes to be free. I entered the Nation Guardian Hall because of you and Uncle. But because, forget it, I like to be alone. After taking a deep look at Longao, Ouyang Fei sighed deeply and didn't continue to say anything. He knew very well that since Longao had already decided on something, it wouldn't be an easy thing to change it. Ouyang Fei cursed Longao in his heart. Longao's talent and potential were there, but what about the National Guard Hall? Brother Long, you've already won second place in the Thunder Empire. If nothing unexpected happens, the Thunder Empire will summon you later and invite you to join the National Guard Hall. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he could understand the meaning of Ouyang Fei's words. After thinking about it, he said, I won't join the Thunder Empire's National Guard Hall. I'll leave and return to Chihua Town later. Longao was worried about Wang Yuyin's safety. He couldn't wait to fly back to Chihua Town. However, at this time, Longao suddenly received news from Chihua Town. After Yu Yin consumed the Millennium Thunder Fruit, she successfully woke up. However, she was taken away by Yu Yin's master. Her whereabouts were unknown. Hearing this news, Longao, who originally wanted to rest for a few days, immediately left Thunder City and headed towards Chihua Town. Chihua Town, Long family. Longao's return caused the entire Long family to boil. Especially when they heard that Longao had won in the Thunder Battle, they were pleasantly surprised. What kind of glory was it to win second place in the Thunder Battle? However, there were joys and sorrows. Although Longao had won second place in the Thunder Battle, he had left the Star Cloud National Guard Hall. No matter what, the Long family was still in the Star Cloud Kingdom. Once they provoked the Star Cloud Kingdom, the consequences would be unimaginable. Because of this, the Long family was worried. Long family, main hall. Long Haosha, Long Yi, and Long Ao were seated. Ao, we have already received news about you and the Star Cloud National Guard Hall. However, the Star Cloud royal family has been quite good to our Long family. How could Long Ao not know what his grandfather meant? He said, Grandfather, I know what to do. The Star Cloud Kingdom will not do anything to us. Long Ao had full confidence in this point. He did not dwell on this matter and asked, Grandfather, what about Yu Yin? Ao, I know you came back this time mainly for Yu Yin. I can only tell you that Yu Yin was taken away by her master. The other party has already said that at least 3 years, at most 10 years, Yu Yin will return. At least 3 years. At most 10 years. Long Ao was completely anxious. Although he knew that Yu Yin had such a master, he had never seen him before. It could be said that he was a mysterious dragon. 3 years, 10 years, he could wait. However, he was incomparably worried. Grandfather. Long Haosha waved his hand and said with a dignified face, Ao, Yu Yin's master is too strong. Our entire Long family combined might not be his opponent. Ao, I know that you are worried about Yu Yin. However, everything must be done with strength. If you act rashly, not only will you not be able to find Yu Yin, even you will be in danger. Do you understand what your grandfather is saying? I understand. How could Longao not understand? However, he was still worried about Yu Yin's safety. However, Longao was also very clear that in this world where strength was respected, strength was everything. Without strength, not to mention oneself, even one's family could not be protected. It was precisely because of this that Longao knew that unless his strength reached a certain level, he would only be deceiving himself and others by looking for Yu Yin. My grandfather, I understand what you mean. Don't worry, I won't act rashly. I'll personally look for Yu Yin later. By the way, grandfather, I have something to discuss with you this time. What is it? Grandfather, father, this time on the way back, I have been thinking for a long time. I want the Long family to leave the Star Cloud Kingdom. Chapter 108. Leave the Nebula Royal Family? Hearing Longao's words, Long Haosha and Long Yi were shocked. They knew what it meant for the Long family to leave the Nebula Royal Family. Long Haosha asked seriously, is your relationship with the Nebula Royal Family broken down to this extent? Long Ao knew what his grandfather meant. He shook his head and said, Grandfather, I believe you already know about the grudge between me and the Nebula Royal Family. Long Haosha and Long Yi nodded. They already knew what had happened between Ao and the Nebula National Guard Hall. Grandfather, father, I've been outside for a while. I've gradually understood that when you're under someone else's roof, you have to lower your head. Long Haosha and Long Yi seemed to know what Long Ao was going to say next. However, they felt that it was natural. No matter what, the Long family was nothing in the eyes of the Nebula Royal Family. I know. Our Long family is nothing compared to the Nebula Royal Family. However, if the Long family stays in the Nebula Royal Family, Long Ao didn't continue, but the meaning in his words was clear. Long Haosha and Long Yi weren't fools. Of course, they understood the meaning in Ao's words. They didn't say anything and lowered their heads to ponder. After thinking for a while, Long Yi finally said, Ao, we understand what you mean. However, you've just said that our Long family's status and strength are obvious. Once we leave the Nebula Royal Family, will the Nebula Royal Family let us go? Long Haosha continued, even if the Nebula Royal Family is willing to let us go, with our strength, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to establish ourselves. Long Ao had already thought about his grandfather's worries. However, it was precisely because of this that Long Ao wanted the Long family to leave the Nebula Royal Family. He didn't want himself and the Long family to be restricted. Grandfather, father, I know that when we leave the Nebula Royal Family, it'll be difficult for the Long family to move forward. However, as long as we cross this hurdle, the Long Ao will definitely rise. Trust me. Looking deeply at Long Ao, both Long Haosha and Long Yin suddenly nodded and said, Ao, since you've decided, we choose to believe you. Patriarch, the Nebula Emperor has brought the Crown Prince and the Guardian Hall's Hall Master to pay a visit. At this moment, a servant from the outer door suddenly ran in and said while kneeling on one knee, The Emperor of the Nebula Royal Family? Crown Prince? The Hall Master of the National Defense Hall? Hearing that these three people were here, Long Haosha, Long Yi, and Long Ao all stood up, astonishment written all over their faces. But one must know that within the Nebula Kingdom, there were only two people who had the most power. The first was the Nebula Imperial Family's Emperor, Ouyang Feng. The second was the head of the Kingdom Protector Hall, Tang Lin. As for Ouyang Fei, he would be the future emperor of the kingdom. As if he could guess the purpose of their visit, Long Ao said, Grandfather, father, I don't want to see them. Please help me see them out. Blocking Long Ao's path, Long Haosha said, Ao, no matter what, our Long family has yet to leave Starcloud Kingdom. If we were to shed all pretense of cordiality, our Long family would be at a disadvantage. Of course, Long Ao understood what his grandfather meant. He had no choice but to continue staying. A short while later, Ouyang Fei, Ouyang Feng, and Tang Lin entered the Long family's main hall with smiles on their faces. Brother Long, you've really made our Nebula Kingdom proud this time. Hearing Tang Lin's words, Longao and the other two's expressions changed. How could Longao not understand the meaning behind Tang Lin's words? He snorted inwardly. Back then, when he was forced to leave the Kingdom Protector Hall, where was the Nebula Imperial family? Where was Tang Lin? Hallmaster, I'm sorry, but I'm no longer a member of the Nebula Kingdom Protector Hall. So, in this thunder battle, I'm only representing myself. Tang Lin and Ouyang Feng were not angry at Longao's words. They still had smiles on their faces as the three of them took their seats. Longao, I know that the Nebula Imperial family has let you down. However, I've already spoken to Brother Tang about this. From now on, Longao is officially the Vice Hall Master of the Kingdom Protector Hall and the next Hall Master. Hearing this, Long Haosha and Long Yi were shocked. Both of them knew what it meant to be the Hall Master of the Kingdom Protector Hall. However, Longao was not surprised at all. After all, he had participated in this thunder battle and obtained the second place. However, what if he did not obtain these achievements? Without a doubt, if he did not obtain the second place in the thunder battle, not only would the Nebula Kingdom not allow him to return to the Kingdom Protector Hall, they would even help him beat him when he was down. Because of this, Longao had already made his decision. However, before Longao could speak, Tang Lin suddenly said, Family Head Long, 3 days ago, we've already announced that from now on, the Long family will be the local tyrant of the Scarlet Flame Town. No matter when or what happens, the Nebula Kingdom will not interfere with the matters of the Scarlet Flame Town. Hearing Tang Lin's words, not to mention Long Haosha and Long Yi, even Longao was completely shocked. Long Haosha and the other two were not fools. Of course, they understood what the Nebula Kingdom's decision meant. In other words, from now on, the Scarlet Flame Town belonged to the Long family and not the Nebula Kingdom. Longao, if you're still not satisfied with what the royal family has done, then I can only give the throne to you. Your Majesty, you mustn't. Long Haosha was shocked and hurriedly came out to mediate. He was afraid that Longao would anger Ouyang Feng. No matter what, the Long family was still in the Nebula Kingdom's territory. Once they completely fell out with the Nebula Kingdom, the Long family would be the one to suffer in the end. As the Long family head, Long Haosha's first thought was still the Long family's interests. How could Longao not know what his grandfather was thinking? He sighed deeply in his heart. For the family, for his grandfather and father, it seemed that he had to compromise. Your Majesty, Hall Master, although I won't return to the Kingdom Protector Hall, I can promise that if anything happens to the Nebula Kingdom, I, Longao, will definitely not stand by and do nothing. This is all I can do. I hope you can understand. Hearing Ao's words, Long Haosha and Long Yi were shocked. However, Ouyang Feng and Tang Lin laughed. Ouyang Feng smiled and said, No problem, as long as you're happy. Oh right, Longao, I know about the grudge between you and the Flowing Cloud sect. If you're willing, the Nebula Kingdom can help you destroy the Flowing Cloud sect at any time. Thank you, but the grudge between me and the Flowing Cloud sect, I will settle it myself. Longao had already thought about the Flowing Cloud sect. With his current strength, it was time for him to go to the Flowing Cloud sect for revenge. Alright, since that's the case, we wish you success. Long Haosha and Long Yi were surprised by Ouyang Feng and Tang Lin's attitude. They finally understood that Longao had grown to the point where even the Nebula Kingdom had to take him into consideration. Chapter 109. Sky Cloud Sect. The Sky Cloud Sect was no longer the same as before. The 4 elders had been killed, and only the Master Tu Lei and Yi Hao were left. According to Tu Lei, no matter what happened, he had to kill Longao to prevent future troubles. But what was the result? The news of Longao participating in the Thunder Battle and winning second place was also known to the Sky Cloud Sect, and they also knew about the announcement from the Star Cloud royal family. It was precisely because of this that Tu Lei and Yi Hao were incomparably solemn. Both of them knew that the current Longao was no longer someone they could deal with. Not to mention Longao, The Sky Cloud royal family alone was enough to force the Sky Cloud sect to compromise. Because of this, Tu Lei decided to send someone to contact Longao to resolve this matter peacefully. However, before he could send someone to the Red Fire town, Longao had already arrived at the Sky Cloud sect alone. Looking at the white-haired, black-clothed youth, both Tu Lei and Yi Hao were shocked. Was this still the arrogant youth from not long ago? Black clothes and white hair had almost become synonymous with Longao. Because of the strong rise of Longao in the Thunder Battle, many people remembered the name Longao. A white-haired, black-clothed youth, walking alone in the dark night. A white-haired, black-clothed youth with a blood oath walked in the dark night. My life is in my own hands. Sky Cloud Sect, Sky Cloud Peak. The peak was surrounded by disciples of the Sky Cloud Sect. At a glance, there was a sea of people, at least 3,000 to 5,000 people. The black-clothed, white-haired youth was no stranger to the disciples of the Sky Cloud Sect, because it was this person who had killed the 4 elders of the Sky Cloud Sect. Longao, I have to admit that you are really arrogant. You dare to come to the Sky Cloud Sect alone. Yi Hao snorted and said sarcastically, you don't know what's good for you. If it weren't for the Star Cloud Guardian Hall, you would have been dead. Over 1,000 flowing Cloud Sect disciples burst into laughter, mocking and laughing madly. Ignoring everyone's mockery, Longao stood under the clouds and coldly looked at the 2 people in front of him. His body gave off a formless cold and murderous aura. He would never forget Yuin's hatred for him in this lifetime. Longao was very clear that if it weren't for the frost bed and the 1,000-year-old thunderfruit, perhaps Yu Yin would have already died. So this battle was unavoidable. Tu Lei, Yi Hao, let's cut the crap. Today, I came to the Sky Cloud Martial School to settle our grudge once and for all. You, Longao, you should know that you are no longer a member of the Nebula Guardian Hall. Even though Tu Lei and Yi Hao knew that Longao was no longer a member of the royal family, they did not dare to kill him. They were not fools, and they knew what kind of status Longao held in the Nebula royal family. As if he could see through their thoughts, Longao snorted and said, I don't need anyone to meddle in my business. Today, I will fight with the Sky Cloud Martial School. No one will interfere. My life and death will be decided by the heavens. Ha ha ha, Longao, I really admire you. Hearing this, Yi Hao suddenly burst into laughter. His laughter was full of contempt and disdain. Your life is in my hands, not the heavens. Today, I will destroy the Sky Cloud Martial School. Without wasting any more time, the blood-sucking broadsword appeared in his hand. He said heroically, Tu Lei, Yi Hao, and all the disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School, come at me together. Together. Everyone looked at the arrogant young man, especially the white-haired man, as if they were looking at an idiot. No matter what, there were at least 3,000 to 5,000 disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School. Once they all attacked together, would this young man be able to withstand it? Arrogant, reckless. Tu Lei sneered and said, since you want to die, I will give you a chance. Longao, if you can withstand 100 moves from them today, I will let you go. Then, Yi Hao and Tu Lei retreated far away. Tu Lei waved his hand indifferently. Then, earth-shattering roars came from all directions. More than 5,000 disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School swarmed up. There was no doubt that among the 5,000 people, no one was Longao's opponent. But what if 5,000 people joined forces? There were more than 5 people. Even if Longao could kill all of them, Longao would be exhausted to death. Longao did not have the slightest mercy, because he already understood that if he wanted to live a better life in this dog-eat-dog world, there was only one word: kill. Kill. Holding the blood-sucking broadsword, Longao's body also rushed out. The first 3 moves of the blood-sucking 8 styles, the first move was the 9 consecutive strikes of the underworld, the second move was the heart-devouring ice, and the third move was the sea of flames. At this moment, Longao was like a demon god, directly rushing into the crowd and killing. The blood-sucking broadsword, with a bloody light, kept reaping the lives of the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples. As for the souls, Longao did not waste them at all, and kept them all in the Dragon Seal space. Longao was ready to finish this battle himself. Longao did not plan to summon his soul slaves in this battle, because he knew very well that as long as he summoned Luo Cheng, Long Ming, and Fire Dragon's soul slaves, he could completely destroy the entire Sky Cloud Martial School in a few minutes. But Longao did not do so, because in his opinion, he had to avenge Yu Yin himself. Master, Longao's strength has exceeded our imagination. This boy must not be left alive, or there will be endless trouble. Evolving the realm. Feeling the power released by the opponent, Yi Hao's face was extremely gloomy, as ugly as it could be. In Yi Hao's opinion, Longao's growth was too fast. If this boy continued to live, it would not be long before he could easily kill him. If that really happened, what should he do? Therefore, this boy must die, even if it meant offending the Nebula Guardian Hall. Nodding, Tu Lei's face was also dignified, and said, after killing this boy, we will go far away to the Nebula Kingdom. But with the foundation of our sect, no matter where we go, we can make a comeback. How could Yi Hao not know what the master meant? In any case, the relationship between the Nebula royal family and Longao was unusual. Once Longao was killed, the Nebula Guardian Hall would definitely not let it go. With the strength of the sect, could they withstand the attack of the Nebula royal family? It was precisely because of this that Tu Lei and Yi Hao's eyes gradually turned cold. The two of them had already planned everything, so they didn't care about the life and death of the sect disciples, so that they could consume Longao's physical strength. At that time, they would be able to reap the benefits and easily kill each other. How could Longao not know about the two's shamelessness? That was why he did not hold back at all, because he knew that the longer the delay, the worse it would be for him. Chapter 110. End the battle quickly. Longao certainly knew that the delay of time was fatal to him. It was precisely because of this that Longao held his blood-drinking frenzy blade, and continuously used blood-drinking 3 styles, especially the third style, Sea of Flames. Among the first 3 styles of blood-drinking 8 styles, only the third style, Sea of Flames, was suitable for group combat. According to Tu Lei and Yi Hao's calculations, Longao would need at least half an hour to defeat more than 5,000 disciples. At that time, they would be able to reap the benefits and easily kill the opponent. But the result? In less than 3 minutes, Longao had already killed a bloody path. Corpses were everywhere, and blood flowed like a river. Those who block me will die. The killing began to numb, but Longao knew very well in his heart that he had no choice but to do so. At the same time as the roar sounded out, the wild blade in his hand swung out once again. The raging sea of flames covered the sky and suppressed the earth. For some reason, the remaining disciples of the Sky Cloud sect were still like moths to a flame. They knew that this was a dead end, but they still roared in anger. One after another, there was an endless stream. Those who block me will die, kill. With Longao's massacre, a dragon's roar suddenly resounded through the sky. Long Qiong, who was ready to come out, was forcibly suppressed by Longao. He was startled. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew that once Long Qiong appeared, it would cause a lot of trouble. This was not because of the Sky Cloud sect, but because of the Nebula royal family under the Sky Cloud sect. Longao knew very well that a dragon warrior only had a Long family above rank 3. Once the Long family knew that he was a dragon warrior, the result could be imagined. It was precisely because of this that Longao forcibly suppressed Long Qiong and rushed out again. Just like this, Longao forcibly opened up a bloody path. When everyone was preparing to continue like moths to the flame, Longao suddenly turned around and coldly looked at the less than half of the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples, and said, "Are you still willing to continue working for this kind of school and elders?" Longao's words indeed had an effect. Everyone looked at each other and looked at each other. None of the disciples present were idiots. Of course, they knew that the Sky Cloud Martial School was using them as cannon fodder. However, as disciples of the Sky Cloud Martial School, were they really going to risk their lives for nothing? No one knew who took the lead, but more than 2,000 people turned around and ran quickly. In a short while, they had disappeared without a trace. At this moment, at the peak of Drifting Cloud's peak, corpses were everywhere, and blood flowed like a river. All of the Sky Cloud Martial School's disciples had been killed, and the rest had all escaped. Strictly speaking, only Tu Lei and Yi Hao were left in the whole Sky Cloud Martial School. A commander without an army. Looking at the corpses on the ground, it would be a lie to say that they were not moved. However, Yi Hao and Tu Lei knew that as long as they could kill Longao, they would not hesitate to destroy the whole Sky Cloud Martial School. Longao, I have to admit that you are really powerful. You are the most talented person I have ever seen. However, you will die for sure. Tu Lei waved his hand, and Yi Hao's body had already rushed out. Before he arrived, his powerful aura had already arrived. But before Yi Hao could react, Longao's wild devouring blade had already slashed over. Yellow Spring 9 consecutive strikes, Frozen Heart Devouring and Raging Flame Sea were stacked layer by layer, plus the erosion of the Soul Suppressing Seal. Just one slash had already cut Yi Hao in half. Yi Hao had been killed in one strike. Stupefied, Tu Lei seemed to find it hard to accept because he knew Yi Hao's strength. Yi Hao was the second strongest in the Sky Cloud Martial School, second only to himself. Tu Lei, it's your turn. Only Tu Lei was left in the Sky Cloud Martial School. As long as Yi Hao could kill Tu Lei, not only would he get his revenge, but the Sky Cloud Martial School would also be completely destroyed. Tu Lei seemed to be unable to accept this fact. However, in the next second, Tu Lei looked as if he had seen a ghost. He stared at Yi Hao, who had just come back from the dead, and almost screamed out loud. Soul Slave. Looking at the summoned soul servant, Longao naturally knew that this was a soul servant that Long Fu had refined for him. However, the speed was a little too fast. However, he did not think too much about this situation. Tu Lei looked at the corpses on the ground, then looked at Yi Hao, and said in disbelief, "You are not Yi Hao. You are just a soul. No matter what he is, you will die." Putting Yi Hao's soul slave back into the dragon space, he had already informed Long Fu to refine Yi Hao and the 6 soul slaves of the Nebula Guardian Hall, and channel their power into Long Qiong's body. Tu Lei, today you and I will fight to the death. I hope you will not disappoint me. Ha ha ha, Longao, you think you can defeat me? As if he had heard the funniest thing in the world, Tu Lei suddenly looked up to the sky and laughed. His laughter was full of disdain and ridicule. Longao, I want to see how you can kill me today. Tu Lei finally moved. As a fusion warrior, Tu Lei's strength was not comparable to Yi Hao's. However, Longao was not afraid at all. Instead, he was full of fighting spirit. With white hair and black clothes, the arrogant young man stood on the top of the drifting cloud peak with blood-drinking broadsword in his hand. He ignored Tu Lei. When Tu Lei was 1 meter away from him, Longao's body began to move slowly. Soul-suppressing seal and blood-drinking were used at the same time. As for Longao, he turned sideways and attacked to the left. Once an expert made a move, one would know whether he was good or not. In fact, in Tu Lei's heart, he looked down on Longao. However, in less than 1 round, Tu Lei already knew that Longao's strength was almost on par with his. No wonder he dared to attack the flowing cloud sect alone. It was because of this that Tu Lei was even more determined to kill him. In this way, the two had fought for 3 rounds in the blink of an eye. There was no clear winner. Both of them wanted to kill the other, not giving the other any chance at all. The first 3 styles of blood drinking 8 styles, the first style, 9 consecutive strikes, the second style, heart devouring ice, and the third style, sea of flames, instantly superimposed on each other. Together with the soul suppressing seal, they began to corrode Tu Lei's soul silently. Tu Lei, who had been very careful, was still corroded by the soul suppressing seal. He was shocked and immediately divided his strength into 2. One side resisted the strange power that corroded his soul with all his strength, while the other side attacked Longao with all his strength. The soul-suppressing seal had already invaded Tu Lei's body. Longao was suddenly overjoyed. He would not give up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The soul-suppressing seal came out one after another, and together with the blood-drinking 3 styles, he forced Tu Lei to retreat step by step. Longao, you dare to kill me? Kill. At this moment, Longao did not have the slightest mercy. He wanted to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Enough, Longao, if you don't stop, I can only kill you. At this time, a majestic voice sounded. Then, 3 figures appeared on the top of the drifting cloud peak. Chapter 111. Get out of my way. Killing Tu Lei was within his reach. At this moment, Longao was not going to stop. No matter who it was, he would not stop him. He would kill anyone who stood in his way. However, the old man's face turned cold. A terrifying aura burst out from his body and froze Longao in place. Not daring to continue moving, Longao was incomparably shocked because he realized that the 3 people who appeared in front of him were simply too powerful. Compared to the 3 of them, Tu Lei was like an ant compared to an elephant. Seeing the 3 people, Tu Lei was overjoyed. He immediately bowed and said, "Master, elders." "Master, elder." The old man who had just released his aura snorted and said, "Tu Lei, you are doing a good job as the master of the Sky Cloud sect." Tu Lei was shocked. He immediately knelt on the ground and said in a trembling voice, "Elder, it's my fault, it's my fault." Looking at Tu Lei kneeling on the ground, Longao was even more surprised. Who were these 3 people? Why would Tu Lei kneel to them? Get out of my way. Thank you, elder. Tu Lei didn't dare to disobey at all. He stood up and stood aside, trembling with fear. His body was still trembling. Who are you? Ha ha ha, Longao, you are really good. But you dare to provoke the Bloodsea sect. You will die. Bloodsea sect. Hearing the 3 words Bloodsea sect, Longao was also shocked. As a member of the Sky Province, of course he had heard of the Bloodsea sect. The Bloodsea sect was a super-existence above the Thunder Empire. It was as famous as the Ghost King sect. It was easy to imagine what kind of existence the Bloodsea sect was. Was there a connection between the Sky Cloud sect and the Bloodsea sect? As if he could read Longao's mind, the Blood River sect's elder Du Hashwan sneered and said, "You don't even know who's backing the Flowing Cloud sect, yet you dare to be so presumptuous. You really don't know what death is." Another elder, who was also Du Hashwan's younger brother and an elder of the Bloodsea sect, Du Yunxian, said, "Longao, the Flowing Cloud sect is a branch of the Bloodsea sect. You have openly destroyed the Flowing Cloud sect, which is the same as going against the Bloodsea sect. Do you want to kill yourself here, or do you want us to do it?" Aura. The powerful aura emanating from the 3 of them made Longao not have the slightest confidence of winning, because the 3 of them were too powerful. Longao was very clear in his heart that even if he used the 9 needles to seal the gods, he might not be able to safely escape from the hands of these 3 people. Star Cloud royal family, since you're here, come out. Following Du Hashwan's words, 3 people walked out from a short distance away. They were the Nebula Imperial family's emperor, Ouyang Feng, Crown Prince, Ouyang Fei, and the National Guardian Hall's Hall Master, Tang Lin. Master Guan, 2 elders. Nodding indifferently, the Bloodsea sect's Master Guan Feng said coldly, "This is a grudge between Longao and the Bloodsea sect. I don't think the Star Cloud Kingdom will interfere. Master, if the Star Cloud Kingdom dares to interfere, then just slaughter them." Du Hashwan's words were very arrogant, but everyone knew clearly that Du Hashwan did have the qualifications to be arrogant. Ouyang Feng's face was a bit bitter. He had forgotten that the Flowing Cloud sect was a branch of the Bloodsea sect. It could be said that he had made one wrong step after another. Even if he was very reluctant in his heart, he could only choose to compromise. Master Guan, Longao has already left the National Guard Hall. Not long ago, The Star Cloud Kingdom gave the Scarlet Fire Town to the Long family. Therefore, from now on, whatever Longao does has nothing to do with the Star Cloud Kingdom. Father. Waving his hand, Ouyang Feng helplessly said, "This is a grudge between the Bloodsea sect and the Longao. It has nothing to do with the Star Cloud Kingdom." Hearing Ouyang Feng's words and looking at the helpless face of Ouyang Fei, Longao suddenly raised his head to the sky and laughed loudly. His laughter was filled with many different emotions. This was the Star Cloud Kingdom. This was the Star Cloud Kingdom that tried to rope him in not long ago. What a joke. Longao had already decided that no matter what, he would never join a kingdom like this. When you are useful, they hold you tightly. But when you are useless, they can't wait to kick you away. This was the Star Cloud Kingdom. Ouyang Feng is right. I, Longao, have nothing to do with the Star Cloud Kingdom. Not only now, but also in the future. After taking a deep look, Longao continued, "From now on, no matter what happens in the future, the safety of the Star Cloud Kingdom has nothing to do with me, Longao, or my family." Longao's meaning was very clear. Ouyang Feng was not an idiot. Of course, he understood. Brother Long, without giving Ouyang Fei any chance to speak, Longao smiled and said, "Big brother Ouyang, I know your situation. I don't blame you. No matter what happens between me and the Star Cloud Kingdom in the future, you will always be my big brother. Let's go." Ouyang Fei didn't say anything before leaving. No matter what, the Star Cloud Kingdom was in the wrong first. Looking at the three leaving, Guanfeng and the other two sneered. After all, the Star Cloud Kingdom was not even a fart in their eyes. As long as the Blood River sect moved their fingers, they believed that they could easily destroy the entire Star Cloud Kingdom. Longao, seeing that you can be considered a genius, I will give you a chance. Kill yourself. Kill yourself, your sister. You dare to scold me? With a cold laugh, Longao scolded, "You are a beast among scum. You are a waste of air if you live. You are a waste of land if you die. Let me give you a piece of advice. It's best if you buy 2 pounds of tofu and go home to kill yourself. Poochie. Aoshue. Father, I feel that Longao's scolding is really correct. The Bloodsea sect has always been shameless. Ao Shui, who had a face full of ridicule, pulled a middle-aged man out. Seeing the middle-aged man, the faces of Guanfeng and the other two changed slightly. Brother Guan, long time no see. How have you been? Mph, Brother Ao, did you come this time to protect Longao? Longao was not an idiot. Seeing how close Aoshue was to this middle-aged man, he had already guessed that this middle-aged man was the master of the Ghost King sect, Ao Tian. He was also Aoshue's biological father. As for the purpose of Aoshue and Ao Tian's visit, Longao was very clear. He was more or less touched. After all, he knew that if the Ghost King sect came to protect him, they would definitely provoke the Blood River sect. Ha ha ha, Brother Guan, I am not here to protect Longao. I am only here to see my future son-in-law. Not bad at all. Aoshue's taste is not bad. Father. Aoshue's face was red, but her expression had already betrayed her. Seeing this situation, Guanfeng and the other two felt that something was wrong. Once Longao became the son-in-law of the Ghost King sect, if the Blood River sect continued to deal with him, wouldn't that be declaring war on the Ghost King sect? The Blood River sect could ignore the Star Cloud Kingdom, but they would not dare to ignore the Ghost King sect. Chapter 112. Ao Tian, the master of Ghost King sect, was also Aoshue's father. Ignoring the three from Bloodsea sect, Ao Tian looked at the young man in front of him and asked, Long family? Level 6 Long family of Red Fire Town. Regarding this point, Long Ao was very clear. After all, the Long clan had countless branches. Just the level alone was divided into 9 levels. Level 6 Long clan was nothing to the entire Long clan. Yes, Aoshue said she liked you very much. At first, I was worried, but now that I see you, I have agreed. Thank you, father. Sighing deeply, Ao Tian said helplessly, I only have one daughter, sigh, what a headache. Looking at the father and daughter in front of them echoing each other, Guan Feng and the other two were completely furious. However, due to the strength of Ghost King sect, they dared to be angry but did not dare to act. But for Longao, the three were obviously determined to get him and would not give up easily. Brother Ao, it seems you are determined to protect this person. I just said, he is my future son-in-law. Needless to say, just this point alone was enough to express Ao Tian's meaning. The three were not fools, of course, they could understand. Looking deeply at the other party, Guan Feng said coldly, Ao Tian, the Green Mountain will not change, the green water will flow forever. My Blood Sea sect will definitely settle this debt with you. Let's go. Wait. Ao Tian, don't go too far. Ignoring the anger of the other party, Ao Tian said with a smile, Long Ao is my future son-in-law, so you better not touch him, including the Long family of Red Fire Town. Otherwise, Ghost King sect will start with Blood Sea sect. At this moment, Guan Feng was furious to the extreme, but he could not do anything. Without a choice, Guan Feng kicked Tu Lei's chest, turned around and quickly left. As for Tu Lei, he had already turned into a corpse on the ground. Thank you, Senior Ao Tian. Waving his hand, Ao Tian seemed to be very satisfied with his future son-in-law, smiled and said, Ao, if you don't mind, you can call me Uncle Ao. Uncle Ao. Long Ao was very clear that Ao Tian was willing to help him because of Ao Shue. Otherwise, as the Ghost King of Ghost King sect, how could he offend Blood Sea sect for him? Okay. H. Long Ao, my father and I saved you this time. You must remember to be grateful. Long Ao smiled, but didn't say anything. The strength displayed by the three from the Blood Sea sect just now was too strong. He even had a feeling that he was powerless to resist. As if he could read his mind, Ao Tian said, why don't we find a place and I will tell you about Tianju? Thank you, Uncle Ao. Chihua Town, Bazaar, inside a tea house. Uncle Ao Tian, I want to know if there is an even higher realm above the Xiantian realm? Previously, when he faced the three of them, Long Ao had a feeling that Du Heshuan's strength was far above the consolidation realm. If that was the case, didn't that mean that there was an even higher existence above the consolidation realm? Nodding his head, Ao Tian said, your guess is correct. Du Heshuan and Du Yunxian are both earthly sovereign martial artists. Earthly sovereign martial artists? Sure enough, although he didn't know what realm the earthly sovereign martial artists were, Long Ao was very clear that the earthly sovereign martial artists were definitely above the consolidation realm. Ao, in your previous perception, martial artists are only divided into the Hutian realm and Xiantian realm, right? Nodding his head, Long Ao said, yes. In fact, in addition to the Hutian realm and Xiantian realm, there is also the so-called transformation realm, which is above the Xiantian realm. Sure enough. Uncle Ao Tian, is the transformation realm the so-called earthly sovereign martial artists? Shaking his head, Ao Tian gently sipped his tea and said, no, the transformation realm is divided into 5 realms, namely Lightning Tribulation, Transformation, Human King, Earthly Sovereign, and Tao Ancestor. So that's it. Now that he thought about it, Long Ao finally understood what kind of existence the earthly sovereign martial artists were. No wonder Du Heshuan and Du Yunxian were so arrogant, they had the qualifications to be arrogant. Long Ao didn't continue to ask about Guan Feng's strength. Without a doubt, even the elder was an earthly sovereign martial artist, not to mention the master, who was definitely a Tao ancestor. As for Ao Tian, there was also no need to ask. Ao Tian, it seemed that he was the so-called Tao ancestor martial artist. Transformation realm, Lightning Tribulation, Transformation, Human King, Earthly Sovereign, and Tao ancestor, Long Ao thought deeply in his heart. It seemed that his strength was far from enough. Not to mention the transformation realm, even the Xiantian realm had not reached the peak. Because of this, Long Ao didn't think about the so-called transformation realm, because he knew very well that biting off more than one could chew was not a good thing for a martial artist. Ao, I believe that you still don't know much about the Tianju. Let me tell you about it. Nodding his head, Longao indeed didn't know much about the Tianju. Ever since he obtained the mysterious dragon seal, he had been constantly fighting or cultivating to make breakthroughs. He simply didn't have the time to understand the Tianju he was in. The Tianwu continent is divided into 9 provinces. Our Tianju is ranked first. This isn't because of the Tianzhou's strength, but because of its name. Longao knew about this. The Tianju has a total of 6 great sects, namely the Ghost King sect, Blood Sea sect, Wind Lightning sect, Golden Sun sect, Blazing Flame sect, and Sound of Thunder sect. In the past, the 6 great sects were in a chaotic battle. In the end, the Blazing Flame sect and Sound of Thunder sect won, so they dominated the secular world and established the Thunder Empire and Flame Empire. Hearing this, Longao was shocked. He never would have thought that the Thunder Empire and Flame Empire had such a powerful background. They actually had the support of the Blazing Flame sect and Sound of Thunder sect. No wonder the 2 great empires could dominate the entire Tianju. The other kingdoms didn't dare to resist at all. Of the 6 great sects, without a doubt, the Blazing Flame sect and Sound of Thunder sect are the strongest. Next is my Ghost King sect, so Guanfeng didn't want to shed all pretense of cordiality. However, the Blood Sea sect likes to play dirty. You have to be careful. I believe Guanfeng won't let this matter go. I know. Although this was the first time Longao had seen Guanfeng and the Blood Sea sect, he more or less knew. The reason Guanfeng let him go this time was because he was afraid of Ao Tian and the Ghost King sect. If Ao Tian wasn't by his side, would Guanfeng still sit and wait for death? Longao wasn't worried about himself. The only thing he was worried about was his family. Thinking about it, he finally said, "Uncle Ao Tian, I want to ask you for a favor." "I understand. I'll take care of your family. I believe the Blood Sea sect is afraid of my Ghost King sect and won't do anything to your family. However, it's hard to say for sure. How about this? Come with me to the Ghost King sect and cultivate for a few decades. At that time, even the Blood Sea sect won't be able to do anything to you." You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.